This is the Seton Hall story, one that comes to life every day on our campus. This is the place where great minds discover, innovate, collaborate, and find their true calling. This is the place where passion has a purpose, where learning inspires leading. The bonds we make, the values we teach, inspire our community to take heart and take action. This is Seton Hall University. This is what great minds can do.
Hello everyone and welcome to Official EGF. My name is Soy. Joining me is Yin, and we've got two SSBU matches to round out our night here for week 15 of the EGFC. But we're starting off with a battle in the Eastern Conference. The University of Delaware Blue Hens are going to be dueling the Seton Hall Pirates this week.
And I'm so excited to see what we got cooking. Of course, Delaware only got a couple of sets under their belt so far with 4 games, 2 wins, 2 losses. Seton Hall, though, looking to notch that second belt with a little bit of a troublesome season, if I do say so. So, how you doing today?
I'm good. I mean, we're getting towards the end of the regular season. These wins or these games mean so much to so many of these teams. This is a battle in the Eastern Conference, so it's even more impactful for those overall standings. Delaware, like you mentioned, they're a shorter season. They joined at the beginning of the spring split. So far, 4-2 through the regular season, and currently holding on to a playoff spot if they're able to continue their winning ways this week. Against Seton Hall, though, we'll have to see. Obviously, like you mentioned, Seton Hall had a little bit of a struggle this season. A lot of their players kind of moving in and out of the lineup, and a lot of newer faces being part of this lineup. We'll have to see who steps into the ring first. We've got our players locked in, and we are underway on PS2. Fatal making their first appearance on stream on the NES for the side of the Blue Hens, going up against Mark Kodik's Donkey Kong.
I gotta say, that aggression right out of the gate, cooking him up, baby. Oh my gosh. I thought we were gonna chill for a moment. I thought Fatal was hitting off of the brakes, but let me tell you, nothing but fatalities right now. I mean, gosh, you're playing a big body. You got Ness, so many amazing aerial hitboxes to be able to cook up your opponent.
And now, world of hurt as Narcotics is now. They're trying to find a way to take this stock off of Fatal. A couple of up airs, and with all this rage on Donkey Kong, maybe they've got a chance here. Low grab there, but still not enough to take the stock. But he misses the back air, and he's going to get punished for it. A stock for a stock, but one that Fatal will gladly take. It's a 2-1 lead.
Yeah, this game is already off 6 minutes. I will say, the PS2 pick is really good for DK overall. DK gets some really good combos off of those platforms. Specifically, you got the ding dong. Pop him right off the top, give him that headbutt, send him right to the blast zone. But don't really matter if you can't get your hands on this floaty little boy.
And right now, Fatal being so elusive. Dash attack's going to sneak through, though. Doesn't find the up air to follow up off the back of it. And so they'll escape momentarily. These down Bs on stage are getting punished now by Fatal. They're starting to get the spacing down. They're starting to land some of these strong hits of back air. Side B's not going to clip him. Up B will. Fatal's going to have to up B. And it's going to be 2 for 2 on the rocket recovery. And Fatal takes game 1 via 2-stock.
You got to be so careful when you go out to challenge that. And I think that was the issue in that second stock. We saw him go out, try to cover that rocket. But when it came down to it, just a little bit of a miss space on the back air. And look, that final stock, same thing. I'm wanting to get the kill right here. I'm looking for it, but nah, you're going to get nicked by the tail of that PK rocket here. Going to pull it back a couple of frames here. Because, man, look at that right there. Look at this tail. That tail is coming in. Just nicked your little tippy toes, and you have lost the stock for it. You got to be careful when you edge guard. All I'm saying, man. And DK ain't the character for it neither.
He takes his first stock so early here. Early up B, punished by the down air. Footstool was clean. And then the follow-up into that forward smash. So well done. Getting the timing down on that down tilt too, right? Because there's a chance that Narcotics can potentially act out of it or roll or something. But he misses the tech on the ground off the footstool.
100%. And that's where it's dead. That's the thing. You get knocked by those little back airs, those little nairs, and you got to be ready for that tech. because otherwise, all of a sudden, that air dodge is putting into a perfect position to get that that little jab lock there. Anyways, we're gonna see the Captain Falcon. I like the pick. Also, we got small Battlefield coming in, making the size of the stage a little bit smaller for Narcotics to be able to just run in on Fatal. It felt like they were playing pretty evasive within the air between utilization of like the B reverses right here with both the side magnet, that down B, as well as the PK fires to just adjust where they're going to be in the air.
And Narcotics, we saw him mostly opt for this Captain Falcon in the past, but more recently it's been that Donkey Kong. We'll see if the Captain Falcon can get any more work done here in this opening series. So far, able to get a jab here and control the stage, but like you mentioned, the fact that Ness is so floaty has made it difficult for Narcotics to track him down. Now a chance here, maybe off the recovery, gets reversaled off of that nair. Air dodged into the yo-yo. The spacing from Fatal is just too clean.
That is the one thing I want to see Narcotics adjust to now that we have seen Fatal place that multiple times. When it comes to that yo-yo, your best option is to just hope that Fatal is kind of spaced out a little bit at that ledge and try to just catch that ledge. And so right there, Fatal was a little bit off on the placement, and Narcotics could have just went underneath to grab the ledge. Even at the same time, you're going to need to find plenty of ways to mix up your recovery. Otherwise, you're not going to lose another stock. You're fine.
There goes Narcotics on his last stock here. Can he take one off of Fatal? This is where the Donkey Kong kind of came in clutch. The fact that DK is able to, the fact that they are a heavyweight, they've got so much power behind each of their hits, you'd think maybe they can take the stock a little easier. Falcon certainly has that kill power, but the problem is they have not really gotten a solid combo off. They haven't gotten to land one of those strong hits that Falcon has to get to that point, and they are just getting walled out right now. Aerial after aerial is connecting. Side Bs are connecting as well. Dash Tech's going to sneak through. These up airs aren't landing, though. Maybe a chance here off the jab. Still spot dodged around by Fatal, and Fatal doing their best effort to hold on to this stock.
Yeah, I think the big issue right here for Narcotics is he's just having a hard time finding his ways through these aerials, especially online where it's a little bit harder to react to some of these moves. All of a sudden, these aerials that are a little bit stubby in normal gameplay feel like complete walls and swords, and we just saw complete bullying through that control of the stage.
Fatal with complete control in game number 2. They get a 3 stock off the back of their efforts here. And again, Narcotics just unable to find those strong hits. Like you mentioned, just getting chipped away at by all these aerials from Ness. And that percent can rack up pretty quickly when you just keep getting stuffed out time and time again. And even the conversions here, recognizing, hey, they've missed the tech. I can run up, get that down tilt, get that lock on lock, and then follow up with that forward smash. And Fatal, with a massive, massive point swing, a reminder of how this format works. You get a point for every stock you have remaining at the end of each game, plus if you win your best of 3, a bonus 2 points. Fatal only dropped 1 full stock in this best of 3, which means that there are 7 points headed Delaware's way through one opening series.
Yeah, this just looked like such a struggle. I mean, first we saw the DK just get absolutely abused and brutalized for that big body, that big size. And then we saw Narcotics over and over again just get edge guarded. So look, coming down here, I don't know what that was swinging for, but look, right there, that's going to be a fatal mistake. Have we put those puns a little too much in use? Maybe, but look, Narcotics needed to up it up a little bit if he was wanting to get a couple of points there. I mean, missed 2 techs throughout the set. That is definitely going to be an issue. And baseball bat right to the kneecaps. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine taking that baseball bat to the kneecap?
For a wooden bat, that's got some power to it. That's got some kick to it as well. So they're able to take that opening series, 7 points headed the Blue Hens' way. But you can see, and this has kind of been the story for Seton Hall so far this season, is that a lot of their players, there is experience on this roster, but it's a lot of right idea and wrong execution. The spacing is just slightly off. So think of the DK match in particular, right? They get the Ness off stage, and they're like, okay, if I just land this back air, this recovery for them becomes infinitely harder. And The fact that they just barely misspaced it means that all of a sudden they drop their stock. Even in that Captain Falcon game, they try and scout the roll from ledge with a down smash, and it's pretty good coverage, and it's decently timed, but it's just barely off, fraction of a second here or there, and one of those hitboxes comes through, and then you're still an advantage or potentially taking the stock. But the fact that they used it a little bit early means that Fatal got to live a little bit longer and eventually get that 3 stock in game number 2.
I think what it boils down to is there's certain moments where you feel that pressure to perform, and there were several of those across that set, where you would have a instance where Marcotics was going for that recovery, sees the yo-yo, understands, I have to make this recovery right here, right now, but gets so antsy from the pressure, goes for the air dodge. Nope, wrong option. Same thing with that down smash. Just a little bit different. And now you've gotten a stock. You've got a little bit more room to play with, especially with a character like Falcon, who has some pretty good edge guarding, especially against a character like Ness. You're off stage, I can just hit you with this up air, this nair, back air, whatever it be. But a little bit of timing misplacement, a little bit of spacing misplacement, and that boils down to set loss right there. But, it be what it be. You move on, you learn.
And fantastic stuff to Fatal in their opening series. Again, this is a Delaware roster that we really didn't know much about coming into the spring split. It was a new team joining the EGFC scene here for SSBU. Delaware, a storied program here at EGFC. A lot of great performances across many games, but Smash Bros. Was one they just hadn't touched yet. And now we get to see a lot of their members really stepping up in big ways. And Fatal, this was their first game on stream. And to start it off against Seton Hall with this kind of performance really goes to show the depth of this lineup, because he's about player number 7 or 8 now that we've seen from the side of Delaware.
Good gracious, 7 or 8, and did a fantastic job. Let me tell you, they aren't going to be sitting on the bench much longer if they're performing like that.
It'll be fantastic to see. We're waiting to see those names locked in for the upcoming match. We hear the sounds of the game starting up, which means that we're going to get Pokemon Trainer versus Falco, which tells me this should be an explosive second battle.
I'm excited for this. We got the Squirtle on deck from Emba. Blobman35, once again, back to the PS2 Classic. Maybe a little bit of home stage advantage for the Pokemon Trainer coming in here. Oh, we are starting off with the conversions. I love to see it quick, 46%. With the down air, too. Something that you don't see a lot from somebody who hasn't been around the block with those Pokemon Trainer combos. So already showing a little bit of understanding of their character. I like to see it.
And I've been down from the one other time I've gotten to cover Delaware Smash that Emba, not only is he a Pokemon trainer, but his Squirtle is probably his most proficient and just scares Blobman off stage, threatening that down air, doesn't actually need to pull the trigger on it. Now he switches immediately back to the Squirtle here as he's working on Blobman's second stock. But this Squirtle, it is such a threat. The bread and butter combos that we were able to see in their one series against St. John's a couple weeks ago was something else, and Blobman is certainly going to have their work cut out for them. They got that jab block, or the lockdown on that laser, but weren't able to get too much off the back of it. Tracking down this Squirtle is much more difficult than it seems.
Blobman feeling a little bit of that pressure. We're seeing a little bit of some weird swings. That laser usage, for example, right? You see that pressure where Emba comes up into your bubble and you want to swing. Laser, though, is going to be a bit of an issue, but the stock trade right there, amazing for Emba. Blobman going to be having to hold that stock for a minute. Seeing the Ivysaur now, I'm excited to see what Emba might be cooking up here, but Blobman starting to find the pressure, that nair to control the switch. I love the understanding from them.
And the immediate switch back to the Squirtle. This small hitbox, more and more difficult for Blobman to really track down, because when you think of Falco, you think of the combo game, you think of those up tilts. But right now, the fact that Squirtle is so small means that up tilt is really off the table. You can just kind of crouch under that hitbox. And Emba, still with all this speed, can really do some damage to Blobman. That being said, finally get a combo here to knock Emba off stage, but it's not for all that long. Chipping away at this Squirtle stock, and Falco, if they get the right connection, that strong hitbox, they can take the stock very early, especially off a Squirtle, and down tilt will just do the trick. Down goes Emba's second stock. We're tied at 1 apiece, but it's still a big deficit for Blobman to overcome.
I will say, what I've enjoyed about Emba's play so far is this very big focus on whiff punishing, where I'm going to dash right into your bubble, and then I'm going to pull right back out, and I think that's where that Squirtle is shining. All the same, beautiful coverage right there. Usage of the Razor Leaf to cover the early side B and put Blobman into the position to get caught by that down air right there. Absolutely wonderful job. So we see the back throw right there. First Razor Leaf. Let's go ahead and back it up a little bit, okay? So we've got back throw and then a full hop right here for this first Razor Leaf, right? Boom. That's covering this first early side B right here. And then just a little bit later, once again, we have that second one that just covered that line of sight. And Blobman is freaking out. You don't want to be off stage against an Ivysaur because that down air is coming, but now you put yourself in the position to go straight to hell. Absolutely dunked and sent to the blast zone.
And the other thing, too, is that how many times did Emba kind of scout out that side B, right? Even in the opening stock, gets the flood on it to cover it, and it ends up working out perfectly as the up B just doesn't have the distance on it. But here, sorry, this was stock number 2. Oh, no, this is the traded stock. So let's take a look at the opening stock here. Again, he catches him with the down tilt, and then just immediately, he's already got the neutral beat charged up. Just throw it out. Why not? See what it catches, and it catches that side B. And that's something that Blobman had used very frequently to recover here. And all of a sudden, Blobman is forced way off stage, can't use the side B again, has to use that up B, and there's just not enough distance on Falco's recovery, especially, I don't even know if he had a jump in that sequence either, but still, just fantastic edge guarding, ledge trapping by Emba in that opening series.
And I've got a question about this stage pick. Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O. Now, for those of whom who don't know, Yoshi's Story is a pretty controversial stage within Smash, given it's still legal for the most part across most tournaments, but you want to be very careful who you take there. For example, Mario will kill you at 0 to 30 anywhere on the stage because he has this beautiful tri-flat layout, and then the top blast zone is very close to the main part of the stage. And so killing off the top becomes very effective here. Given Falco has a lot of tools to utilize for that, right? You have the up tilt into up airs. Up smash is a decent kill option, but then we get to Pokemon Trainer. And there's a couple of cheesy things you can do with PT. First of all, you got up air and Vine Whip from Ivysaur, where they can just put you right into that top blast zone. Then alongside that, right there, we just saw Falco being forced to ride the wall. And against most characters, that's really good to be able to mix up timings. But against Ivysaur, I have down air that's active for way too long. And I'm just going to kill you with it. And you got to hold that.
And it covers, the state of Alaska down there below the ledge. It covers so much space that Blobman is just not going to be able to have an easy time recovering vertically if they are forced to recover low. But now, the pressure is on here in the corner. A couple of projectiles being traded back and forth. The Razor Leaf comes through. I love the idea of Emba there to jump and go for that grab. Just barely misspaced it. But he's going to catch the roll in via the forward smash. And down goes Blobman's second stock here. They're looking to answer back quickly with this invincibility. But it's quickly fading away now. 83%. Throwing out the reflector a bit more. Stopping the usage of that Razor Leaf for now. But Blobman's still looking to try and connect that strong hit. Drag down a forward air. Oh, but the fire does not interrupt that tether recovery. Maybe a chance off the top here. They find the second up air, and down goes Emba's first stock.
Just chasing them right to the top. I will say this Ivysaur has been doing a beautiful job for Emba, but Blobman has done a really good job of adjusting, okay? So Emba has been doing a lot of this Razor Leaf to cover certain areas of the stage and then maneuvering around the platforms. Meanwhile, we're seeing Blobman, utilize Shine. Just, I'm popping this reflector out, you're gonna eat this Razor Leaf. And then a little bit just to go at that ledge scenario, right? Emba's trying to utilize platform to avoid Blobman's pressure, and Blobman is just putting these up airs, these nairs right in that bubble where it's like, all right, are you actually safe to touch the plat? And Blobman just challenging that just a little bit. All the same, that's going to be dead though. Alaska, baby.
It just covers so much space, and Emba, yeah, he's got that timing on lock here. The moment you see him fade down past this platform, post the reflector usage, and does not use that wall jump, yeah, that down air is coming out. Look at that hitbox. Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
This hitbox is bigger than half the screen. I can't tell how. It's so big. It's an Bro loves America because that was a beautiful firework. Let me tell you.
And Emba, solid game 2 here. They're able to take a 2-stock victory over Blobman. And taking advantage of just the little things here. Blobman again forced to recover low, incoming down air, and stuffed out completely. And as you'll note here, cannot tech the sidewall or sent away from the stage. Not a high enough percent to be able to tech that percentage. So
I will say another thing I want to bring out about this stock right here, if we could get a little bit of a zoom out on this. So you have Blobman come down here, and the same sort of thing happened with the final stock. Falco does have another option here. Even though there's no double jump on the table, right? You just use side B. You also have a wall jump, which is very important to Falco's recovery on the stage because you drop down right around here and where your main option is like up B, right? But you can also double jump to the side, and now you have a air dodge to go here. You can still kind of fade back with the up B and go more of a diagonal or ride the wall a little bit more. Or even go mad high and try to completely avoid any fear of down air down here and go to the platform with that up B. And so there's a lot of options if you just, instead of trying to go up B straight to ledge, you just wall jump, just to add like 4 or 5 different options now all of a sudden. And that would have done remarkable work for Blobman. Alas, all the same, going to go for that direct up B and going to lose 2 of the 3 stocks for that game due to that.
Yeah, we saw it drop the first stock and the final stock. This was where Emba, I believe... Oh, wait, no, this is stock number 2 where Emba was able to get the chase down. Nearly gets this grab here. Good read, but the roll away. Scouted it out, but look at the timing. Just barely off target with it. And
the scary thing, too,
able to get away with it.
The scary thing, too, down throw, if you get down throw here, that connects into these long vines and just boom, I'm going to hit you with it and pop you off the top or the side where you're just in that corner. That's the worst position to get caught by Vine Whip. And that's what Emba was starting to scout out there. And it would have been detrimental for that stock. All the same, that forward smash, definitely going to catch that roll every day of the week.
Forward smash, massive coverage on it. This is where I thought the up B would clip, but instead it's going to be Blobman on the chase down, getting 1 point off the board for the side of Delaware, or getting 1 stock, I should say. Kind of cutting down, stopping the bleeding, getting some momentum back. They take 1% for going into the bubble, but if it's to get a stock off of Emba's board, then why not go threaten that up air and see what you can do. They're able to get 1 off the chase down. Overall, great use of Ivysaur throughout this sequence from Emba, and a little sad that he couldn't hold on to that stock.
Absolutely. Still, you can't complain about the point lead right now if you're Delaware. 2 stock, back-to-back. All of a sudden, that is another 6 points on the board from Delaware, if I'm not mistaken.
A massive point swing headed their way. 2 stock here in game 2. I believe it was a 1 stock in game number 1, so I believe only 5 headed their way, but it was still a substantial victory. And you got to remember, in a format like this, the minimum amount of points a player can really earn with back-to-back 1 stocks is 4 versus a back-to-back 3 stocks is 8. That's kind of the point range, the point swing in this format per player. So Seton Hall, they really need to win this next series to try and keep themselves alive or in terms of chance of getting a victory this week. But what we've seen from Delaware so far is that their players, I mean, they are pretty consistent across the board.
I will say, UDI in here, you might be able to tech that. You're pretty close. You're pretty close, right? There's a possibility. You just hold into stage and hope and pray. It's kind of close. I don't know if you can DI this because I'm pretty sure like you could only SDI at certain downward and upward angles. I could be wrong on that, but
Here's
it might be
looking
just
slow-mo.
close enough. Yeah, I'm not seeing a blue line, so it was probably only SDI-able, but if you SDI and just kind of hold in, you might be able to get a tech there. Low key. Oh, you can't tech off a tumble? Or a non-tumble?
Oh,
Good to know.
interesting.
Well, no, so this should still be tumble, though. It's just, sorry, I know production is in the background, but...
Yeah, we're speaking with production. They're saying that if the you can't tech if they're not in tumble, correct?
Well, so you can't tech if you're not in tumble, but also what I think is being referred to, so you can only DI if you're in tumble, but you also can't DI if you don't hit a certain like degree angle, if I'm not mistaken, for the knockback. I could be very wrong. I could just be talking out of my rear. If I'm being honest, but I'm pretty sure there's like a 15-degree zone or dead zone where you can't DI, and so this could have still been tumble, just not DI-able? Question mark? I don't know. Maybe I'm full of crap on that one.
Yeah, I see the blue. Yeah, I don't see the blue lines, but yeah, in this final stock, that's what I was saying earlier. Maybe if you try to utilize the wall jump, it's still a scary spot though, right? Because Falco's jump height is insanely high, and in that moment, with that down air still looming, there's even a chance he still catches it. But we're past set number 2 now, on to set number 3. 2 new players in. It's going to be Houdini on the Yoshi for the side of Delaware, going up against G-Man's Pac-Man. G-Man, haven't seen them in a while, I believe. So far, still searching for their first win this season, but the Pac-Man has done a decent job of mitigating a lot of points against Seton Hall. But unfortunately here, they're going to get pineappled right off the bat, and Houdini off to a good start.
Just making those stocks disappear. I will say Yoshi is a scary little dinosaur to go up against. But you know what? If there's anybody who's going to eat his fears up, it is Pac-Man. Already putting the pressure down. Look, those smash attacks are so good with stage control, where you just pop out those ghosts, or you also got the hydrant. You pop that down, and I think the usage of the fruit, the hydrant, and the combination with the smash attacks is showing a very brutal zoning game so far from G-Man.
What can he do with it, though? Can't find a way to track down the Yoshi there on the recovery, and the chase down nearly leads to an up smash kill. Gets hit away once more. He'll use this hydrant, and it's going to find Houdini before the jump can come out. So well done by G-Man to get that snipe from distance. Down goes stock number 1 of Houdini. Combos are starting to come through as well, but now maybe the turnaround, a chance for Houdini. They'll get around that hydrant, and they'll land the back air, and G-Man, just too much percent, gets caught out.
Yeah, this is starting to become a little bit of a troublesome issue for G-Man. It's just every time Houdini finds their spot inside of that scrapping scenario, all of a sudden, you are eating a couple of meaty hitboxes between down air, back air. I mean, good gracious, Houdini's even swinging the forward air, trying to look for a spike at this early 30%.
All these multi-hits also damaging, and Houdini, also the placement, being able to follow up on all these hits usually. Not just 1 or 2 coming through, maybe 3 even, but now down air from G-Man will knock Houdini off stage. Bell going to be used, and it's going to be... Wow, okay, side B of Yoshi is not going to beat out the Bell, and now all of a sudden Houdini's going to be able to make it back to stage here for a moment. They side B, and that's a misinput. That's going to be G-Man pushing Houdini to last stop.
I'm sure G-Man is glad to see it, given if you're Houdini, you were hoping to find a way out of that. But I gotta say, Bell hitting that side B was absolutely nutty that it lasted just that long. Goes to show you how active some of these zoning tools can be, and you gotta be very careful of them.
You have to be very careful here. Damage being slowly chipped at, but maybe, oh boy, faded towards that up smash. Got a little scared for G-Man, but they'll be able to survive for the moment. You gotta wonder how many more hits of this can they survive. 123, the answer is none. They run into the up air, and Houdini steals away game number 1.
Yeah, no, Houdini just coming in, swinging right there. Understanding that, look, you're out of a double jump. I don't think you're willing to give up the stage control. So right here, double jumps to get around, and look at that catch. All right. Misses with the fair. I don't know who he was hitting. Maybe a ghost. Maybe he saw it. But just understanding that, look, you want stage control. You want this right here, this good stuff. You think I'm going to ledge? Nah, nah, nah. I'm coming up. Boom. We got an up air right there to send you right to the top.
Yoshi is one of those characters that always surprises me because it doesn't feel like when you're getting hit by a lot of these aerials, it doesn't feel like a lot of damage. The sound effect doesn't sound all that damaging. But then you look at the numbers and you look how far you get sent by a lot of these hits, and you go, "Oh my, I'm dead at the next hit of this likely." And Pac-Man, I think he's around, if I recall, he's middle of the pack in terms of weight, maybe on the lighter side. And Yoshi can certainly take advantage of that if they survive these higher percents. But Houdini getting sniped out there by the Hydra. This was really well done by G-Man in this moment to recognize the percents that you can kind of rack onto that hydrant, and then the forward smash angle covering Houdini's fade back and away there, recognizing that Houdini was going to recover low. But after that, Houdini was just, like you mentioned, just willing to scrap and just go in and land all these aerials.
That's kind of what you got to do to an extent, but now we're going to see the DK switch. I thought the Yoshi was doing fairly well, but all the same, I can't complain about a little bit of monkey, right?
No, you cannot, as already G-Man putting on the pressure here. They're going to get a grab, up throw immediately into the up air, but not too much off the back of it. They'll get another back air. They'll stuff out the side B, and they got the pellet too. A little bit of healing coming through, and they are just not giving G-Man any time to breathe on this stock right now. Another Hydra comes through. They get nared off stage for it. They try and clap it away, but it's still being pushed out of reach. Now a chance here, and they're going to stop that side B recovery, stuff it out with the back air once more, and the pressure Houdini's putting on right now is insane.
I will say, I think what G-Man needs to do at this point is start flying those amazing aerials. As Pac-Man, your thought is like, yeah, I'm a zoner, but bro, you have some of the best scrapping tools in the game. Start lighting up DK. And that's the scary thing though, right? Is you don't want to get up in the face of the heavy. But if you can get DK to go ahead and throw that hit out, he's a lot more whip punishable than you. And so you could just start throwing out these nairs, these fairs, and start laying out the damage and the pressure, and try to just outspeed your opponent.
Slowly chipping away at this heavy stock. Gonna eat a little bit of damage. Ooh, nearly got punished for bouncing there off the wall, off of that up B. But they will be able to survive. Chair will knock them back. Grab back throw here, but still able to live. Gets around one projectile. Can't get around the down air, though. Great coverage by G-Man in that moment. And stock number 1 is taken care of.
Just a wonderful little checkmate scenario from G-Man coming in there and putting in the pressure, though. 150%. You aren't taking another boot to the face without going straight out. Galaga, though, not going to be able to catch it. I was kind of excited to see a little bit of Galaga play, and I think that is what you want right now. You need something to bring this all the way back into your advantage, and Galaga can do that. You put that out, and it combos so well and dishes out so much damage, and you can even find a kill off of it with the side beat.
Gets around that, or we'll be able to knock away the hydrant. It looked like G-Man was trying to set something up, but Hydrant ended up interrupting his own projectile, and now, oh, nearly, you saw he wanted to scout out the landing there with that forward smash, but just barely interrupted once more. Hydrant will knock him away again, throws the bell down, but it's going to be enough to cover. There's another forward smash, and there goes stock number 2. So G-Man in a decent spot here, especially if they continue to chip away at this stock. They don't get the projectile back. They'll be able to shield the Hydrant once more, throw another one out there, and just continue to use this Hydrant as a wall, but you gotta wonder how many times can they get away with it, because now G-Man's past it.
Ooh, getting a little too aggressive with that recovery route. I gotta say, G-Man was starting to cook a little bit. Had a lot of different checkmate scenarios that they were bringing into play, especially on the edge guards, where it just felt like there were moments where Houdini didn't get another option other than to just let G-Man work his magic.
Very well done. These side B recoveries from Houdini were just getting scouted. I mean, even stock number, this was a fantastic read to recognize, hey, the Hydrant is not going to throw out that push box quite yet, right? Getting that spacing down on that forward smash. We saw him try and get that read a couple of times, but this back air too, right? We saw him get an early stock of this. It knocked away the pellet the first time he tried to use it. Here, just fights through the pellet and is able to get that early stock off the board. He had only taken 33 by the time he drops his first stock.
Look at that. That orange right there. Let's go ahead and back this play up. This was absolutely gorgeous right here. So first off, Houdini getting a little bit aggressive. The cherry pops in and gets a little bit scared. All right. Time for offstage play. First, we started with the orange. Now you got to jump or you got to go low. Hydrant forces that if you go automatically, you're gone. And so it's just timing after timing getting covered by Houdini. And we even saw another stock like this a little bit later as well. That just, G-Man did such a good job off stage. And it was looking gorgeous, but all the same, it doesn't matter if you are allowing Houdini to cook you in the neutral situations time and time again and get these earlier stocks.
Like you said, it can be scary to play in the face of a heavy, but you get this heavy off stage, and a lot of the heavies in this game, that recovery is very susceptible. And look at the coverage that we're pointing out here, right? This bell goes straight down, forcing G-Man away. And at this point, he can no longer really grab that ledge. He has to go on stage, and the recognition from G-Man allows him to follow up with that forward smash.
It's so horrifying to play one of these characters and get put in the situation. And the reason why this bell stops him from going to ledge, okay, is he has to go up and to the left if he wants to go directly to ledge, which gets hit by bell. All right, so now your option is to kind of B-reverse and then go the long way around. The issue with that, to do that, you have to get a little bit more height, especially where you get this stall right here. This stall causes a little bit more issues, and now we're going to see you're forced on stage. And what's coming? The little ghosty. He's here for trick-or-treating, and you're a little bit more horrified than you wanted to be. You're gone. You're out of here.
Donkey Kong was absolutely horrified. You see the look on his face. Every time he gets hit, those eyes literally pop out of his skull. I think it's one of the funniest animations in the game to see Donkey Kong get unfortunately just smacked. But yeah, I mean, G-Man, solid showing, just unfortunately too little too late. Houdini able to win neutral enough times and on many characters as well. It just, again, things rolling Delaware's way, but this is what they've shown. Here's a look at the eyes. Those things are cylinders popping out of his head.
Oh no. Oh no. He's got some damage there. That's some brain damage, let me tell you. You don't get hit in the head by a fire hydrant and just recover without a concussion.
He's gonna have to go to the blue tent on the sidelines and get checked out to make sure he'll go through concussion protocol for next week, and we'll see. But unfortunately, for the side of Seton Hall, it means that excuse me, wow, I can't speak. It means that they're down 3 full sets here. They got 2 more to go, and Delaware, I mean, this is what we've seen kind of from Delaware, is that they've been able to handle the teams that are below 500. It's just been that question mark of can they, how do they perform against the teams that are above 500? Because right now, again, for reference, for this league in the overall standings, it's the top half of the league up to, I think, 16 get into the playoffs. So for SSBU, that means about top 9 get into that postseason run. Delaware is right now at 4-2, hanging around just barely inside that top 9 because off the shortened season, it is based off of win percentage, not overall record. And the fact that they're sitting at 4-2 means that they're just barely above 500, and these games mean so much more to them. If they can continue to win, that percentage just continues to go up and helps build towards the postseason. And now we get to see the next set locked in. I believe this is the Sheik for the side of Delaware. This is Swift stepping into the ring against Mr. L for the side of Seton Hall. Very explosive characters in their own right, but the way that they damage feels like one grab can really do the trick, huh?
Oh, 100%. And that's the scary thing, right? Is she can do plenty of damage if you know your routes, but how are you going to find those kills, especially with such a precise character? Meanwhile, Luigi, you touch my shield once in the wrong way, or you overextend once in the wrong way, I am going to throw out a move that will kill you sub 100 so many times over and over. Between Cyclone, that is a frame 1 escape option, and it can kill, especially on a character like Sheik that is so light, but it doesn't matter. Bouncing Fish coming in to take the first stock for Swift.
Spacing by Swift. Who goes for Bouncing Fish there? Just kind of calling out the fact that, hey, they'll use that side B to recover here, and they just get that move off beforehand. Well done by Swift to take that stock, and now they're working on stock number 2. They don't get the back air, though. The side B will beat it out for the moment, trying to aerial him off stage, but Mr. L can't find the target. Maybe a chance here, weaving around, but again, Swift with these back airs is too clean right now. Ooh. Needles into Bouncing Fish once more, still not able to convert. Low recovery once more, goes for the ledge trump, but he doesn't get there in time, and Mr. L will punish with the up smash.
Getting just a little too aggressive there off stage, and in some of these scenarios where it's a little bit harder to control Sheik, we've seen Swift do some amazing movement, really living up to that name, but in a couple of scenarios in that final sequence leading up to that stock, just misplacing a couple of back airs, up B, that could have been detrimental to Mr. L. All the same, getting that stock without letting too much of a cleanup come from Mr. L. Only about 28% still. Mr. L starting to put in a little bit of work, and you got to be scared when you're fighting Luigi. That up B will send you right off stage at any moment.
Got to be very careful here. Like you mentioned, 43% on Swift, but when the Zaire comes through, just chipping away, spacing away, but now a couple of forward tilts landed, grab for Swift. They get an up air off the back of it. No drag down though. Back air traded with Cyclone, and all of a sudden, these trades are very much so working out in Swift's favor. Another recovery. Swift will be able to get back to stage, but Mr. L, a couple of times now he's been able to scout out that roll from ledge with that up smash. And although it's not Mario's up smash, it is still strong in its own right. And Swift still looking for a way in to try and get to one of those strong hitboxes. They throw out that first forward air, but again, they get caught being too aggressive, and the Cyclone beats out that first move.
I think the big thing for Swift right now is you need to start playing a little bit more patient, because if you're making mistakes like that, you're going to get caught up by a Cyclone. And I think Mr. L is really trying to force this kill. And so if you're Mr. L, you need to just slow down the play a little bit, right? You're playing this touch of death character. If you get the stock, you can still win the game. And just like that, now you're in contention once more. One grab, that could be all you need.
116, does he find that grab though? So far it's getting nared and chipped away at. Oh, Misfire is going to help him get back to stage though. Maybe a chance here. Zaire lands 6% off of it, but still not enough. Just trying to find that plunger. Swift, very aware of it. A couple of side Bs coming through as well.
Between the amount of rage that Mr. L has, where you're sitting at 144, you almost have full rage, and then Swift being at 6%, the 0 to death was off the tape. At that point, you got to do a little bit more than just trying to cheese out a stock there. You got to start finding some hits. And I think that's what Mr. L kind of lost to at the end there. Swift just really put it on the pressure here, understanding that all Mr. L is doing is putting out these plungers, and one mistake, Swift has the speed to get right in there, finds that fair, and then boom, catches them. Boot to the face. Oh, you're going to need some surgery for that snaz. And that was Cyclone too. Look at that. That animation right there. I don't think that's an air dodge either. I think he's going for Cyclone.
Ooh.
Wow. A frame away from the invincibility being there. Dang. One frame. That's all you need. Mewtwo King was right. One frame makes the difference.
It really does, and Swift able to capitalize off the back of it. But I think it was all off of this opening stock here is where Swift really found their momentum, right? They get these jabs off stage, they've got the needles, but they don't need them. The runoff bouncing fish, the timing to use that move. Typically when we see this move used, it's off of needles or it's just kind of threatening, that kind of lackadaisical recovery. But Swift making fantastic use of it here. And now we'll see if they can make better use of it here in game number 2, or if Mr. L can answer back and get these Pirates on the board.
Oh, beautiful drift away from Mr. L there, using the ledge to go ahead and make it nigh impossible, given it can be punished, but gonna be extremely hard if you aren't ready for it. And, throw in a couple, 12, 15 frames of lag minimum. It's gonna be really hard to punish that. And so I want to see Mr. L utilize that a little bit more, where Swift has been doing a really good job of just using the ledge to put the pressure onto Mr. L.
Battle for stage control now. Good forward air for Mr. L to knock Swift away. But Mr. L, it feels like a lot of their damage, they can't find these grabs, so a lot of their damage now is just kind of one and done. Just forward air, stuffing out, Swift getting overly aggressive. Whereas Swift right now, solid control and solid decision making in terms of when to go in, when to kind of reach a little bit farther with a couple of these combos, and just very well done on these turnaround back airs as well, throwing out that larger hitbox, making sure that Mr. L, anything he throws out is getting stuffed out as well.
Look at how safe Swift is playing now. They have this understanding that Mr. L is going to up smash at any point in time. And that is the issue with being so willing to throw out these hitboxes, right? Is you put the idea into your opponent's head that they just need to play patient around you, and you will throw out a move that they can punish. I will say, Swift getting caught up by that up smash, though, still finding the stock with that F smash and doing a beautiful job. A little bit off on the punish right there, off of the Cyclone. That could have been really good for Swift, but Mr. L going ahead and finding the damage. Needles are the name of the game for Swift today.
Continues to charge them. Ooh, runoff down air for Mr. L. Now they're in a bit of a pickle. Oh, they're able to get around that back air, though. You saw Swift was trying to go for the stage spike, but instead they're getting aerialed now. Another back air into the runoff down air, but Mr. L is not going to be able to find it. Another side B comes through, knocks Swift into the stage. They both make it back, but these percents are slowly working in Swift's favor. Oh, they go for the back air, but there was that tornado. We saw that end game number 1, but this time around, the tornado helps Mr. L survive.
Yeah, it's that invulnerability. It's not there for long, but I mean, having a frame 1 escape option is so good, especially for a character like Luigi, where all of a sudden it makes you have to second guess any time that you're wanting to extend a combo. And that's something that you really want to do against a touch-of-death character like Luigi that will kill you off of these 0-to-deaths, or even right now where Mr. L isn't pulling those a lot of the time, it's still kills at like 80% like that. You make one mistake near Luigi, and he's just going to blow you up for it. And so you want to get everything you can when you find the hit. And Mr. L is just making it so that Swift has to second guess it at all times.
Grab comes through. Should be some good damage. 58 very quickly dealt on here. And now, Swift, certainly a strong deficit to overcome. 64, backing away, turned around the needles, but the up air won't do the trick. And now, with all this rage, Mr. L, there's a chance he takes this stock very early if Swift is not very careful, but Swift has done so here. Tried to get the roll in with that up smash, but Mr. L rolled out. He gets away for the moment.
I will say I like the idea from Swift because the name of the game right now is even if you don't win this game, you want to not give too much of a lead to Mr. L. You don't want to let them two-stock you. And so you go for that up smash on roll in because it's super non-committal, and even if they roll away, they aren't going to punish you for it. And so just going for something that might get the kill. All the same, Swift is getting a little too aggressive with these dash attacks. And I think that's what we're starting to see Mr. L call out a lot, is where he sees this initial just, I'm going to burst you down. Okay, I Cyclone. Instead of the normal shield that we were seeing.
Ooh, goes for the forward smash this time, but it's going to be the up smash out of shield that does the trick, and Swift will drop game 2. Seton Hall, they're on the board via 2-stock at that.
I love the bang bang. Luigi's so swag with it. He's just having fun. He's like, yeah, I did that. But no, coming in, getting just a little bit too close to Luigi and getting caught with that up smash. It's scary. What are you going to do here? Let's see. Is it just the frame up? Oh, we're coming a little bit early. If Swift just would have held that shield, would have been all set. But dropping that shield out of fear of the up smash, that wasn't going to break your shield. You see the up smash start ripping, you better hold on to it a little bit longer. And I think that is one issue. Is that a frame 1 drop? Oh my god. Oh, he's jumping there?
Interesting.
Oh my gosh. Getting a little too antsy to get out there. I think the thing is, you see the movement and you wanna run away. You get scared. Right?
Yeah,
so
Swift. And that's why you see the jump in the moment. To be honest, I thought Swift was going for the parry. I thought that's what he was going for in that shield drop and was just confident. But instead, we see the jump come out and get caught by that up smash. And that's 2 whole points headed Seton Hall's way. That's a decent point swing. Might not be enough to keep them in quite yet. It does keep them alive in theory here, but you would need a 3-stock in this next game from Mr. L to make this feasible, I believe. And that's going to be a tough ask, especially the way Swift is playing. That being said, we go to PS2 for game number 3 between these 2 players. And I wonder if Swift continues to play that more passive style, knowing that Mr. L is throwing out a lot of these up smashes, especially out of shield. Trying to get this follow-up, just so much pressure off of these aerials, but a little bit of chip damage here and there, and they'll just have to back away.
I will say, I like the stage pick for Swift, where you mentioned that Swift has been playing very passive, utilization of needles along with a whiff punishing play style, and then throw in just using the movement to position themselves outside of Mr. L's burst range and try to catch Mr. L going for something. You throw in a little bit more bigger of a stage for Swift to back up, charge needles a little bit more, and Swift is going to make really good use of that.
Mr. L has thrown out a couple of these stronger hitboxes to try and get aggressive. Things like dash attack that are, not super committal, but they're still strong in their own right. And they've been able to cross up a couple times and help him get the advantage. But that being said, strong hitbox, sweet spot of up smash on the platform. Very well done by Swift to catch Mr. L out in that moment. And that takes that stock relatively early here. We saw Mr. L live up to 160 in game 2. They were only at about maybe just cresting 100 in that first stock. And now Swift with a solid lead.
It's just some really good pressure. And look, even right there, Swift has done a really good job of better managing where their combos are going to go for this game. Where before in game 2, we saw a lot of overextensions and a little bit too willing to pressure on Mr. L. And all of a sudden, it's been a big shift in momentum for Swift, where all of a sudden, they're placing themselves in a lot better situations and a lot better positions to find kills and to avoid getting mixed up and reversed.
Very well done on the side B. How many times have you seen that take stocks, especially in that scenario? Very well done by Swift to get that read and kind of track down that side B with that projectile and take that second stock off the board, especially after being punished for getting too aggressive in that previous recovery. Swift sitting at 0% here on their second stock. They're trying to make this a JV3 if they can. They go off stage. That's a missed tech, and they will get it. Mr. L goes down underneath the stage, and Swift with a JV3 in game 3.
That was so beautiful by Swift here, all right? We see the nair into the down tilt to set up for the rest of the combo. And I think the big thing that we've been seeing a lot from Swift, right, is these back airs, okay? The combo sets off stage. All right, I'm just going to pop you here. And you're going to be dunked right into that pineapple area. You aren't coming back unless you hit that tech, and you have to be ready to hit that. That's not something easy to do.
And the other thing in those scenarios as well is, let's take another look at this up smash here. Just missing the tech on the platform, but the roll away leaves him just vulnerable enough for Swift to use his speed to get over to that point, land that up smash, and take that stock in the first place here. I believe this is where Mr. L answers back here off of Swift just getting too aggressive, tries to get fancy with the needles down low in the bubble, but the side B hits him and knocks him into the stage, and Swift was just not ready for it. Very low here. Side B,
here.
Use the double jump in that sequence too. You can see that was the startup of double jump. They're curled in.
I'm going to go out on a whim here if we back this up, okay? So first, right out of the gate, right, we see the fall back down to plat. All right, get ready. And then right there, I think this was meant to be a double jump before the needles. And so I think just runs off the stage, cues needles, and misses the double jump input. And from there, I mean, you're just kind of checkmated yourself, right? Meanwhile, if you would have gotten that double jump needles, that might have been able to secure the stock right there.
Yeah, double jump needles from the runoff at that angle. Yeah, that would be a pretty good snipe onto Mr. L from the bubble. Although they did get this side B stock immediately after, but yeah, I think that's probably what they were going for in that moment. Knowing your angles in this game, especially on a character like Sheik, very important, and they're able to answer back here. But in this last stock, there's also something to be said about, we called out these run-up, turnaround back airs, or these back airs into stage. But I feel like against a character like Luigi, 9 times out of 10, you're just throwing out something like Nair just to hit them away from the stage, knowing that, hey, they're depending on a misfire to get back. But Swift with the recognition saying, let me hold my aerial back here, and instead waits till they're over closer to the stage to then back air them into it. And you saw the air dodge come through, meaning that Mr. L was attempting to try and tech the stage, but just didn't get the timing right, and therefore drops game 3, and that's 3 sets going in favor of the Blue Hens now.
Yeah, and this is looking very good for
Delaware.
4 sets. They have been doing a phenomenal job. I gotta say, Swift had some really good combo game throughout that set, as well as, honestly, Mr. L was kind of cooking for a minute with some custom Luigi stuff. You give a character like either of those two that good of frame data, man, it's kind of exciting to see what a player can do with that combo game. And it was really enjoyable to watch both Swift and Mr. L scrap back and forth, just throwing that combo game all out there and trying to show what they had.
It's a matchup we don't frequently see. There's not too many Luigis here at EGFC, and there are even fewer Sheiks that we see just in general. So a unique matchup for sure, and an interesting one at that. Now we get to see a character that we've seen a little bit more, a few characters we've seen a little bit more here at EGFC. The Bowser is certainly one that is a commonplace here in this format. Stinky3 going to be on the Bowser, the captain of this Pirates squad. Going up against P3, who made their first start, I believe, just a week ago. But the Bayo looked very, very clean and is already racking up the damage onto this heavy.
Yeah, I was going to say this set could go one of 2 ways, I think. Either A, which given, we could still see A, okay? Bayo can do a lot of damage, especially to a character like Bowser, the heaviest character in the game, one of the biggest bodies. All of a sudden, you're just begging to be comboed at any and all percents. But Bayo kind of struggles to get kills. Throw in the fact that it's Bowser, and you're just giving Bowser full rage. You need to be able to bind these stocks, otherwise Bowser can just kill you sub 100, sub 80, sub 60. He can kill you at any percent. It's Bowser. He's one of the hardest hitting characters in this game. He doesn't care if he's eating percent.
Very much the case. Always a threat when they survive at these rage percentages. And the perfect example, they're living at 186. They take P3's stock down, and he was around 120. Maybe now a chance to answer back here. A couple of these aerials and tilts being thrown out, but nothing solid connecting. Now a couple of multi-hits come through. Stinky continuing to try and chip away at stock number 2 of P3. But maybe a chance here, and they'll find the back air at center stage in the battle for neutral control. 223. That's how much it took for Stinky 3 to drop that opening stock.
Yeah, no, it was looking scary for a minute there. I will say, if you let Stinky get too high of a percent, then it's going to be even harder to kill because you lose out on some things like up tilt into back air. That is normally a bread and butter kill confirm for Bayonetta. And you need to have those up and ready unless you want to allow a character like Bowser to run away with the game. And looking might be a kill. No! The whip on that. You hate to see it. I mean, looking for the back air, just misplaced it a little bit and then got nicked by the Bowser recovery and eating that stock. All the same, you're going to see that Bayo, that classic Smash 4 ladder.
Yep, and connecting all the hitboxes there. Getting the job done, taking one stock off the board. I'll be honest, I thought after he got the witch time off stage, I thought he was going to go for the down air, go for the spike. But we're playing for the points here. Everyone knows that in the regular season, these points, they do matter. They matter towards the tiebreakers and so on and so forth. That round differential being our first, the point differential being the second for the overall standings. Delaware being at 4-2, pretty solid playoff positioning so far, but if they can increase their chances, if it comes down to a tiebreaker spot, they'd love to be able to up their seeding if they can. Close to the ledge here, though, goes Stinky, but P3 will be able to recover. Another up B, and now you gotta wonder here, P3 might die in the next 2-3 hits here, especially if they're this close to the stage.
P3 really needs to start cooking at this point if they want to take this stock, and the Bowser bomb. Beautiful placement to trade right there. Stinky just taking up that stock right there. I want to see that that hitbox right there. I want to see if that was a trade, if that was a 2-frame. What in the world happened? Alrighty, so we got Stinky dropping down, and yeah, it looks like a trade. If we go ahead and back up a bit here, then we will see it look like a little bit of a foot coming above the ledge. Watch this at 4th speed. Yeah. Oh no, your foot was just poking above the ledge. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Oh no. You weren't supposed to go that high. Bayo, take off the heels.
Those heels cost them the stock and cost them game number 1. So another point on the board for the side of Seton Hall. Stinky, the captain, showing up in a big way. Showing up in a big way on this first stock, though, because look at the percentage here. 88 to 186, nearly 100% differential, and the up tilt just kills outright at max rage, and that is the threat of these heavies. They survive the combo game, you give them that max rage, and every hit just becomes that much more threatening. And Bayo, on the lighter side of the cast, not the lightest, but you know, when it comes to the middleweight characters, Bayo certainly on the lighter side. So a character like Bowser can absolutely take advantage of those moments when they are at the rage percentages, but now maybe an opportunity here as they're looking to try and follow up, but instead the up tilt comes through, and we talked about this, the early game belongs to Bayo, and P3's trying to take the stock early if they can, but the forward airs don't get the job done, just barely able to survive. Maybe a second chance here, but the low recovery from Stinky will allow them to get back to stage.
I'm interested to see how P3 plays off of these platform layouts. A lot more interesting layouts, and I feel like it could have some cool extensions. One, you got this layout where it allows you to kind of play a little bit more off the side if you can find it. And then 2, you have the main layout that might allow for a little bit more ceiling play. The one issue becoming, though, Town and City has a much closer side blast zone, but a much higher top blast zone. So P3 might struggle a little bit more to get those kills off the top like we saw on stock 2 of game 1. All the same, though, I do like the pick overall. Just give yourself a little bit more space to play with as Bayo.
Order will knock them off stage. Platform will also give them their jump back. Forced to recover low once more. Do they have the height back? Yes, they do. Was worried after they got flame breathed, but still able to survive. Maybe a chance here to get more damage on the board. Platforms are returning. Down air going to be used. Up throw. Tried to scout out that up B, but not enough, or not able to do so. Side B on the platform. I didn't think he would be able to reach over that far, but Stinky gets the job done, and down goes P3's first stock.
Platform layout kind of helping out for Stinky, but all the same, P3 taking him all the way to the side, saying, hey, let me give you the grand tour of the stage. Hope you like it.
Ooh. P3 going deep for that edge guard, but there was a high recovery from Stinky that came through. Seen a couple of these flame breaths as well. Good amount of percent can be dealt by that move, but very punishable. P3 knows it, and they got the opportunity to go in. Still not enough to take the stock, though. Stinky's able to survive. And now, Heavy with some rage on the table. Oh, they go for the up smash read, but it's not enough. Now a chance here in the follow-up. Nair will knock Stinky away. Oh, which time? How do you get the follow-up? Side B again. Oh, a trade comes through, and they'll be able to get back to stage.
That's an extremely important trade for Stinky if he wants to be able to find this game, too. That definitely would have been a kill with that forward air right out there in that blast zone. All the same, Jab gonna put them into a pretty bad spot. P3 getting a little bit worried. That toe just keeps nicking up, but hey, look at that recovery route and finding the bear. P3 clutching it out.
This happened seemingly out of nowhere, but we're going to game 3 between these two players. P3, I mean, how many times have we seen that up B go right above the ledge, that extra kind of hitbox, threatening Stinky 3, but also trading with that neutral B from the Bowser. But this conversion, the double side B, to set up into strong hit back air. And even though he's on basically center stage, maybe a little left, he's at 178 when he gets hit by that back air. So P3 able to secure that stock and take down Stinky in game number 2. Great answer back after dropping that first game.
And look at this edge guard right here. Popping right there with the side B, looking for the tech. And P3 was looking for it too, right? We see P3 jump out early to go for that up B to try to cover an early recovery a little bit. We've seen that a couple of times from P3 with that Bayo. So yeah, gonna go run off stage, pop the up B, just to position, but had positioned themselves out there a little bit earlier just to try to see if Stinky would go high. And then recognizing that Stinky was going low, readjusting, all right, I'm going to go low with you and force the tech. And let's see what you can do. Once again, looking for the same thing, and that is a horrifying situation to be in if you're Stinky, because given Bowser's recovery goes a little far if you're mashing hard enough, but even then, there's some moments where you got to wonder if that tech situation will do it. Oh my gosh, the reset? Still not going to kill even.
And they're both able to make it back. Down B towards the ledge, but able to survive. Just trade back some hits here and there. Both of them kind of know that there are some style points on the line between these two. P3, a character that's been able to get a lot of damage, a lot of combos off, but Stinky does not want to go down without a fight. Hold on to center stage for now. They get the side B, nowhere near kill percentage on P3. They'll be able to get back to stage as well. And they'll just kind of weave around that neutral B once more.
I love how P3 is adjusted in this game, recognizing between game 1, game 2, what the difference was. Because game 1, there weren't as many edge guards. There was a lot more combo-focused play. For example, that right there. And P3 put a big, heavy lead on that for game 1. But it didn't secure the game, and it didn't secure stocks. Meanwhile, game 2, all of a sudden, we're seeing edge guard after edge guard. And this game has felt like that ranked up a whole nother notch. And so I've really enjoyed the adaptation from P3 to acknowledge how they need to take this set.
Ooh, the follow-up in that up tilt was clean. And look at them just getting careened around the stage right now. P3 looking for another aerial startup, but not able to do so. Gets stuffed out by that forward air from Stinky. Another up B. Finds a shield. Not going to be able to do too much here. Down air at a disadvantage will be able to take that stock off the board. So back to a tied stock count. And at 85% here, what does P3 have? Pretty good combo. Gets a nair off the back of it. Can't escape the Bowser Bomb, though. And so he'll be able to get back to stage.
Every time I see that Bowser Bomb, I get a little bit horrified that the spike hitbox is going to land or something. I know that it doesn't go all the way through the whole Bowser Bomb, but there's something in my mind that just says you don't want Bowser sitting on you, especially when you're off stage. That's gotta be bad for your health.
Ooh, another combo again. That side B into back air. Well, this time doesn't get the witch time, but does get the air dodge. Either way, Stinky will be able to make it back to stage. Air dodge away. Good, kind of snapped a ledge there to avoid the hitbox P3 was about to throw out. Now maybe a chance, forward air instead, goes for the down B. Not enough to take the stock quite yet, but we saw Stinky take a stock at this percent in game number 1. Finds another side B onto the platform. Bayo is light, and they will die off the side instead. Stinky's pushed P3 to their last stock.
Look, if you don't want Bowser sitting on you, you don't want him body slamming you. And that is the one scary thing, is if you allow him to get in close, he's got that command grab, and that's a very strong tool to have, especially when you're a character that already puts fear into your opponent. Some very strong moves. So the utilization of both, like, hey, I've got an air to pop you into back air. I have forward air that will kill you semi-early. Then I've also got this grab that will just yank you out. All the same, looking like a stock, not going to get taken somehow despite a full, like, 20 seconds being played off stage. It felt like, almost felt like a decade, to be honest.
Get what in the world? A second time they get called out for being too low, and the Bowser Bomb is 3 for 3 on connecting hits there, and 2 for 2 on taking stocks.
Oh no. Let me see it. You know I want to see it.
I'm getting deja vu here. Anyone else think this looks a little familiar?
Oh no. Oh no. He clipped your foot. It's like right here. One frame. Oh no. Your heels. Bayo, we warned you about the heel. I know they look great, Bayo, but come on. We're fighting here.
Well, if there's anything about Bayo, they are about style, and P3 had plenty of style in this match, but unfortunately bited them in the ankles in the end. And it's going to be Stinky who comes out on top in this series. First series taken by Seton Hall today, so even more points headed their way, kind of cutting into that point deficit. But unfortunately, that is the fifth and final set between these two schools. So that is going to be the win secured by the side of Delaware and the Blue Hens. They secure their victory this week. They're up to 5-2 now. And although P3 doesn't get the win, they're only 1-1 this season in terms of matches played on stream. This was very well done. Kind of recognizing Stinky was just kind of going to go for something to try and cut into that lead or try and get a little bit more extra credit. Throws out that down B and just says, you know what, I'll eat a little bit of percent for it, but I'll probably take the stock off the back of it. But that down B, again, the Bowser Bomb, wreaking havoc and taking stocks and helping Stinky take that set for Seton Hall.
That looked so good and clean. Anyways, real quick, we are going to take a little bit of a break before we get Emba up in here. Of course, if I'm not mistaken, the captain of the winning Delaware Hens.
Blue Hens, the Blue Hens.
Blue Hens.
should be a good one. Emba will be joining us after a short intermission, so we're gonna hop to a quick break, get that all set up for you. We'll be with Emba when we come back. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the EGFC. We are joined by Emba, the Pokemon trainer for the side of Delaware, after they got the win over Seton Hall. Emba, you're 5-2 now. How does it feel getting the victory this week?
It's pretty nice. We haven't played actually played in a while because we had a lot of forfeits past couple weeks, but it was nice to get back into the groove of things. You know, the season's winding down, so nice getting matches back in.
So, Emba, I gotta say, as someone who enjoys a little bit of combo game, you were kind of cooking up a little bit. I gotta ask you, how long have you been playing on this Squirtle? Because it was looking pretty good with that movement and pretty good with that combo game.
Oh, thank you. Say since March 2021. So
Okay.
Actually, I didn't even realize. I haven't thought about it in a while. So about 2 years now. Yeah.
Absolutely fair. I mean, the Squirtle, like you mentioned, it's been playing fantastic, but you had pretty solid control throughout your series in particular. Did you have any kind of game plan going in? Did you see the tag of Blobman and go, okay, I know I'm going up against the Falco this time around? Once you saw the Falco on screen, what was your kind of thought process?
I think in that matchup, you really have to. It's both. They have pretty good combos, each character, so really the first character to get the opening and then keep the other one in disadvantage. That's usually how you win these matchups. So I was just playing around lasers, not to get too much strip damage, and then finding my opening with a or grab or something like that.
So, with a character like PT, you bring on a couple of different challenges, just in the form of needing to adapt your playstyle. How do you kind of go about attacking each character as their own individual character and their playstyle? And then how do you treat them as similar? Because there were a couple of moments where it looked like there was some play that I can tell between the Squirtle and Ivy that felt really polished, but between all three that was utilized.
I think after playing them now for 2 years, I don't even see them as 3 separate characters now. I just down B is just another part of my toolkit for Pokemon trainer. So all the characters are just one in one. So I just use them for different situations and stuff like that.
It's fair. I mean, yeah, it can certainly feel that way. Excuse me. So for this Delaware squad, you've joined the EGFC midway through the season, but we call this format a hybrid crew battle because it's not the traditional crew battle format. How do you feel about this EGFC format in terms of the point swings that can happen?
I like the best of 3 part of it. I feel it's a bit more. You have more games. You could lose a game and still come back and set. I think the winning a set and getting points from that is pretty important too. So the stock part, I think it makes sense as part of how the league functions. So I think the whole point system is pretty cool. I don't think there's a better way to utilize.
Well, hey, Emba, it has been a wonderful time having you on, and you played absolutely phenomenally today, and, securing another dub. Let the people know what you want to shout out.
Shout out to all the team. We're a pretty close community here, even not just the team, but the Delaware Smash community in general. They're always watching and cheering us on and stuff, so shout out to them. Yeah, that's basically it.
That's awesome to hear. All right, thank you so much for joining us, Emba, and we'll see you next week for what I believe is going to be your final match of the regular season.
Yep, I'll be there.
We can't wait to see you. All right, thank you so much, Emba. All right, Yin, that's 1 in the books, and we got 1 left to go. But that was, if you didn't catch that final score, 23-6, our final of this Eastern Conference battle. But this next one should be a good one. It's going to be the Villanova Wildcats going up against the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. I'm excited. Should be a fun one. We'll get that ready after a short intermission. So don't touch that dial now. We're just getting started.
Ladies and gentlemen, kings and queens, and all you lovely people in between, welcome to Villanova University versus University of Hawaii. Soy, welcome back. How you feeling about this set?
I'm feeling good. This one's always, I've said this the past couple of weeks, but Hawaii is usually our last match of the day, but they are the most impactful team, I think, in the EGFC just because of where they are in the standings. This Hawaii team sitting at 10-4 overall right now, one of their best seasons in the EGFC since joining. If they get the win this week, it will be the most wins that they've accumulated in any regular season for SSBU, so they got to be feeling ready for this matchup. Going up against Villanova, though, who's really looking to get back into those standings if they can, looking to scrap their way out of the lower third of the standings.
I think a big question becomes, how willing are you to play that time game? All right, you're going to need to slow this down. And normally, look, online can have an effect on sets to an extent. We're talking about a game that runs at 60 frames per second that gets slowed down by 12 frames minimum on a good connection. Then you throw in the fact that one of these teams all the way on the east coast of the US of A. Meanwhile, you got Hawaii that's, I mean, goodness, you'd rather be playing on a connection to Europe if you're living on the east coast than playing against Hawaii.
Yeah, so you'll forgive us if this set is a little bit slower. These players do kind of need their button checks to see what that will be like. But Daniel Demanuel stepping in here into the ring first for the side of the Wildcats, going up against Hawaii's Malona, two very staple names to the roster that we've seen kind of week in and week out. Daniel Demanuel, 1-5 so far this season, had played a couple different characters, but a lot of fast-paced characters. Pyramithra, PT, like we're seeing on here. Going up against Malona, though, a newer face to the Hawaii roster as of this season, but they've been having a fantastic split. 9-1 so far this year. Their only loss to UTA, the defending champions of the EGFC.
Got to be feeling good if you're holding that record. But right there, that Thunder coming in, almost killing somehow. You know, Charizard living a little bit. With that shield from Malona, understanding that, look, there's no loss here if I shield. He can't shield break, and if he pops that Flare Blitz, boom, you're gone. Backer's going to eat you, and I don't need to give up stage control to do it. And I think that's a big thing that some players underrate, is sometimes just standing there, hitting shield, or doing nothing is the best play, because it allows for you to maintain the control of the pacing of the match while still forcing your opponent to pick an option, especially in those off-stage scenarios.
Good quick air dodge there by Malona to get around that up B. Levin Sword almost gone here, but they'll be able to use it and clean up that second stock. Great timing there by Malona, recognizing, hey, I've got one more usage of this, better make it count. And they're able to take the stock off the back of it. The Charizard will answer back, getting a forward throw kill on Malona. And now the Squirtle is out to play here, working on stock number 2. But so far, it's a pretty solid lead.
I think the big thing here at this point, right, if you're Daniel Demanuel, you're wanting to get this stock and fast. And so the Squirtle right here needs to find the combo game, and then you need to find an air dodge, which given ain't a big ask when we're talking about a PT. We saw it earlier today. That down air covers so much, and if you're caught in that blast zone, I'm sorry, you're gonna be done for, especially if you're a character like Robin that, once put in that scenario, can have a pretty easy to figure out recovery where it's just going to be one nice little straight line. But all the same, doesn't matter. Arcfire locking in for that kill right there.
The key to victory.
Very well done by Malona in this opening game. They get a 2 stock to kick off this series in game number 1. And the Robins in the EGFC have all been pretty successful. You know, even though there's a little bit of concern around that resource management at times, Malona making great use of it. And just the catches, right? These side Bs do so much work, so much damage, and the follow-ups that you can get with those strong hitboxes of the Levin Sword. Able to get the job done here. And he gets caught here at, what, 87% by this side B? So very strong. And, oh, does the up tilt actually put him in harm's way? Is he too short for that initial kind of angle of side B?
I think it was just given. You're a little bit higher, but even then, up tilt doesn't quite last long enough. And so, yeah, you're going to get caught right there. If you're caught standing, and this is why doing nothing is sometimes better right there, you just kind of put yourself stuck in that scenario where you can't move out of the way, you can't shield, you can't jump. Swinging can be a detriment sometimes, even though you have to get a kill, you have to deal damage. Sometimes when you swing, you are just locking yourself into taking a hit.
Yeah, and Daniel Emmanuel caught swinging a couple times here. Like you said, surprised that they were able to live through this neutral B, but Charizard is a heavy character, and this shielding of the Flare Blitz, like you mentioned, great recognition saying, hey, this isn't going to threaten my shield, and I've still got plenty of 11 sword left, so a back air, as long as I space it out properly, should get the job done. Then taking stock number 2. Look, the 11 sword, this was the last usage of it. It was about to run out. Same with that Fire Book, the side B, coming through as well. Both utility burned in that sequence, and they were able to capitalize off the back of it. That resource management, always a key when you're looking at Robin gameplay, and Malona, very aware of it.
I will say, I love the use of the arc fire too, right? You see that you put Daniel Emmanuel off stage, and you know that they're going to want to retake stage control. Just put that arc fire there. You lose the resource, but at the same time, you're going to go ahead and threaten that jump in. And so all of a sudden, Daniel, what normally would just be, hey, I want the stage control back, turns into a loss of a stock because you jumped too early. You got caught by arc fire, and now you're done. You're gone.
Yeah, the way that this character can just quickly evaporate stocks is very threatening. And now we get to see something that we don't typically see. Daniel Emmanuel opting for the Bowser, which we have not seen this year. And they go to Lilat for game number 2. Now, I know Lilat, a couple of times, a lot of players have very polarizing opinions of the stage. Some players like the slants, some players don't. But Daniel Emmanuel opting to go here for game number 2 tells me he must have a game plan.
I do love some of the play from Malona. We saw right out of the gate just a brutal combo game, even without the 11 sword. And then just a little bit ago, some really cool play with the book. I like this knowledge of the character, and that's something that happens when you solo main a character. Still, I do like the Bowser pick from Daniel, all of a sudden making it a lot scarier to misplace an attack. And if you misplace, all of a sudden you are going to lose the stock. Speaking of losing a stock though, Daniel Emmanuel gonna lose it to an SD. You hate to see it, but alas, it happens sometimes.
Unfortunate scenario there. Daniel Emmanuel SD dropping that first stock. Ooh, they go for another up smash, and they're getting punished for it. The gentleman coming through, getting even more damage on the board. And that's the problem though with picking Bowser against Robin, is that Robin as a character has got so many projectiles that will just chip away at this stock. And especially since Robin is a character, right, that a lot of those projectiles are setups, the side Bs, even the neutral B, the coverage. There is so much for Daniel Emmanuel to worry about, but on a stage like Lilat, those platforms can run interference. But now maybe a chance to take the stock. They're trying to play the edge guard game. They dip low with that Nair, but the up B just barely spaced around it. Forward air's not going to land. Nair will, but it knocks Malona into the stage, and he can't get back to recover. There's not enough height on that up B.
Getting just a little too aggressive off stage with a character like Bowser. You know what that means. That character doesn't have the recovery tools for it. And that end lag on neutral air definitely going to put the pressure. I will say the slope of that platform working out for Daniel Emmanuel right there. Normally, that side B would have connected with the shield, but due to the slant, Daniel Emmanuel just a little bit too low on the stage to be able to be clipped by that. Not sure if it was on purpose, but still a really cool interaction to notice.
You're seeing these angles certainly messing with some of the distance of some of Robin's moves, but the biggest problem still is that 89 make that 100% on Daniel Emmanuel's last stock, and it's going to be followed up upon by a forward smash. Down goes Daniel Emmanuel, and another win under the belt of Hawaii's Malona.
Yeah, right there, a clean 2-stock right there, just putting out so much pressure with these arc fires. Look at that back air coverage, goodness. What are you going to do? And once again, though, Daniel Emmanuel, hold up. Let's talk about this once more. Look at that. What did we see once again but the jump to stage to get caught by the arc fire? And that's the thing. You've got to be aware that if they have this clear punish for an option like that, you have to be willing to play around it, especially when Malona has already displayed that they are going to put that pressure on if you jump there.
So that was the first stock drop that you're seeing on screen. He dropped ledge and double jumped side bead, and the end lag of that move means that he can't get back to stage.
It wasn't even an end lag. It must have been a lag spike. So normally you can do it. I just don't know. Maybe a little bit of delay there, not being able to get the up B out. Either way, you hate to see an SD like that.
And then here on stock number 2, again, dips too low, trying to get aggressive against Malona, and just not enough height on that recovery from Bowser. Throwing out that nair, decent idea. Just trying to find a way to track down Malona in that sequence. And he does do so. It does land a hit on him, but it gets Malona back to stage. And then eventually get that command grab, get him to a platform, and down goes that opening stock for Malona. But Malona just playing fantastic and had very solid control. Even though, yes, the angles of this stage did kind of interrupt a couple of these projectiles, overall, Malona was able to work around it and find those connections still, find those follow-ups, especially off of the arc fire, which is the Robin classic.
Oh yeah, that arc fire put in so much work in that set, and there were a lot of times where Levin Sword set up Daniel the Manual into a position where they were going to lose a stock, especially if they picked the wrong option. And let me tell you, that arc fire time and time again showed that it's pretty easy to punish the wrong option if you've got that on deck.
By the way, Malona now 10-1 in the EGFC, and I believe that only set loss was to a member of UTA, and I want to say it was Army Ollie, who has a lot of pro experience down in that scene. So they've been playing fantastic this year, and Hawaii again. Hawaii is a very large Smash program, and they've had a lot of turnover over the years. I mean, there have been, just last year, it felt like there were 15 plus players to this roster. It felt like everyone had their opportunity to be on stream. Now we're seeing more consistently the same 4 or 5 names, but it's not the names that we've seen in years past, and yet they are still coming out with this fire week in and week out. These players have shown up in such massive ways. And here on the stage, to see players like Malona, who are new to this scene, have this type of performance to kick off the day, the Rainbow Warriors have to be feeling confident.
Oh, and I can't blame them. That is a beautiful way to open up. There's very little you can do to do better than a 6-point right out of the gate. And it puts the pressure on Villanova to perform. And, considering how well University of Hawaii has been doing this season, it's going to be a scary thing for Villanova to face up against.
And we're going to see those players locked in for the second set of the day. I believe this is going to be DDD versus Thermalax. And now I'm intrigued because DDD, by the tag, you can tell he plays the King Penguin. He plays the King DDD. We have seen a couple of characters in the past from him, though. We saw Byleth recently. We saw Wolf. Even Captain Falcon not too long ago from him, but the tried and true is that King DDD, and Thermalax has gone King DDD and Mario, so there is the chance that we see the King DDD Ditto, and that is not something I thought I would say today when I woke up this morning.
Yeah, no, DDD is always an interesting character to see, very rare, but if you know how to play around the character, it's that Gordo, right? And so you need to understand what moves of your characters are safest and easiest to utilize to put that Gordo onto the pressure of your side. And so you set it right back, and all of a sudden, you're making DDD have to make the call. And with a character like DDD, you don't have the hitboxes. You don't have the speed. You don't have the frame data. You're just going to struggle and get run over. And so understanding, all right, what are my options? And so if you see that DDD on screen, the first thing you need to be doing if you are Villanova is thinking, what do I have for this? And how do I respond? Meanwhile, of course, having a different plethora of characters is always important, especially if you main a character like DDD, who is so exploitable. So as you mentioned, Falcon, Violet, there's a lot of other options that you can use that could bring you plenty of success and could do plenty well for you.
It makes me wonder too if they, don't want to opt for that battle of the King deities because they have pockets and they know that, hey, this Ditto could be, very, very polarizing. Maybe we see instead Thermalax say, I don't want to fight another deity with a deity. I'll just opt for the Mario this week. Or maybe we see on the flip side, hey, I know how strong Thermalax's deity has looked in the past. Let me try and pull out, say, the Wolf who's got a reflector, or the neutral bee, the laser that is very, very strong in its own right. Byleth with all those strong hitboxes or strong sweet spots that they can land against a big body might be the answer. Players are locked in, characters are locked in. We see a King Dedede on one side, but I believe that is the Bowser being locked in for the side of Villanova. Dedede rocking the heavy this time around, and Thermalax sticking to their guns, rocking the King Dedede.
I do like the pick from Dedede to go for Bowser, although as confusing as it might be, right? So when it comes to Bowser, he's got a lot of really good disjointed hitboxes that can send that Gordo right back. For example, we're going to see usage of the Fair, and then once again, that Fire Breath, as we saw in previous sets, is going to do so much work to put in so much damage, especially against a big body character like Dedede. All the same, that Gordo putting out the fear factor at ledge and then just securing the kill off of the Jet Hammer. You're going to see that setup probably a little bit more, as it's a very good setup for Thermalax to utilize.
Yeah, that hammer catching Dedede unaware. Thermalax will drop stock number 1, though. So it's back to relatively even. And I like that Dedede has not given Thermalax any time to set up the Gordos that are, that staple part of King Dedede's kit. And here he's going to catch a landing off the forward smash. My goodness, what a call out in that moment. Tried to nair it back, but ends up eating a bit of percent for it instead. He'll get down tilted off stage. Maybe a chance to run off down air. Thermalax threatened it, but could not find the mark. And now even more percent being chipped on. Maybe a chance now for Thermalax to tie things up. Just takes the damage and knocks them all the way from the left to the right side of the stage.
I will say Thermalax has done a really good job of just keeping Dedede at ledge with Gordo setups like that. Dedede, though, getting a little bit antsy to get a little bit of damage back in, should have just taken the stage control. That's just kind of what you do, right? You take that 50-50 of, all right, am I going to go for this hit right here and try to secure something, which could be very good to get that lead even or further extenuated. But in that case, gonna lose a stock for it.
A couple of good forward tilts here, and he's just going to continue this kind of wall of pain of sorts. Oh, tried to catch him with the back air, but well-timed air dodge means Dedede will get out for the moment. But still, it's Thermalax with stage control. The agency's on him, and he's going to find a back air. Is that enough? Yes, it is. The rage kicks in, and Dedede goes down, and Thermalax is able to steal away game number 1.
Yeah, no, just finding that back air, that was the one last thing that they needed to go ahead and secure it out. Look right here. Finds the Fair, pops the Gordo just to put the pressure out, and now, nope, you don't get to just drift in. Let's talk about this recovery right here, okay? We've seen a couple of times where players get a little bit lazy here, okay? In this situation, you have the option of go in, okay? Now, here's the thing. You already know that they are coming in and they are going to try to secure this area right here. And so if you are coming right here, you're going to get hit every time. And so your main option should actually be to drift away a little bit. If you are going to come in, you need to air dodge, but it's also not a bad idea to just come a little bit lower and then try to come from the side to make it a little bit harder for Thermalax to just cover with that back air that we see just shortly after.
We did see Dedede earlier, I think, use that early air dodge back to stage. Thermalax tried to throw out a back air, didn't find the mark, and Dedede was able to recover off of that well-timed air dodge. This was very well done right off the bat here. Thermalax throwing out that Gordo, covering many options here, just kind of going down the checklist, and then pulling out the hammer, recognizing, hey, he's been on that ledge for a while, right? Even, and in the moment, right, still option coverage. Even if Dedede in this moment is able to somehow roll around the Gordo, it's still covered by the turnaround of the hammer.
Yeah, and that's the one thing. That's your one option, and even that, as you said, is a scary option to do because there is still the possibility of the turnaround. Now we're going to see the switch to the namesake. DDD on the DDD, and Thermalax once again doing the same. And so we're going to see a little bit of a battle of the Eagles, and we'll see what they can pull up on this stock.
An eagle? I thought he was a penguin this entire time.
Initially, if I remember my Kirby lore correctly, was initially meant to be an eagle. It might have been retconned to penguin.
It's entirely possible.
A little bit of a deep cut for you there.
Oh my goodness, whoa. Okay, so I knew that this was an interaction that was possible, but I didn't know what the answer was past, like, stage 3 of it, right? Gordo gets sent out, gets reflected back, you can use the inhale to send it right back, but I didn't think the down tilt would work again in that instance, and so the ping pong action between Gordos is going to be interesting to keep track of. Oh, I like the idea of the dash attack there, knowing that kind of lingering hitbox is very strong and can catch him if he snaps to that ledge and stays there for too long. Speaking of, stays on the ledge here, but he gets caught by the forward tilt. Thermalax off stage, using the Gordo to knock the opponent's Gordo away. Gordo fights through a couple of hits of that forward tilt, but still not enough, and now the situation is reversed.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, that dash attack, if you can land that, that kills at around 20%. It is an absolutely destructive move, and even more so with these characters. So something a little bit less known among Smash players and stats. When it comes to a character, not only is their weight important for how early they die, but also their fall speed, their gravity, okay? So if your character falls a little bit faster, you're actually going to die off the side faster than you will the top. And so getting a move that can kill off the side, like that dash attack, like an F smash, like Jet Hammer, is going to do a lot better than, say, an up smash inside of this matchup. Or at least it's going to kill soon.
Speaking of killing soon, I feel like Thermalax has to take this stock relatively soon, but right now, he's getting chipped away at 66%. And you got the soft hit of forward smash too. Gordos are connecting, and the dash attack again coming through. This time it does find the mark. Thermalax down to their last stock now. DDD holding on here at 163. Potential edge guard. Gordo to the ledge. Well placed, but they're going to be able to armor through it, but it's still covered by Thermalax. And these DDD players, they know their option coverage. Well recognized by DDD to fight through, but still the forward air gets the job done.
That nair right there though, out of disadvantage. Such a good tool, a very quick hitbox to be able to just send and say, hey, look, no, I don't want to be in this position. You're going to have to play a little bit more patient. And that is one of the key things if you are wanting to get good at this game, is understanding how to make it scarier for your opponent to press their advantage. That way they're less likely to take early stocks and dish out bigger amounts of damage. And so that nair is a really good option. And then also, I love this awareness from DDD on where to place Gordos to kind of block out Thermalaxes, where to put the suck out there to try to inhale some of those, as well as some of these forward air hitboxes from Thermalax just a few moments ago, just walling out some of that stage control and saying, hey, look, no, please back off, give me my space.
It's interesting to see how these two players kind of utilize the kit a bit differently, right? Oh my goodness. Oh, I thought that inhale actually might have killed him. I thought it was going to be too little too late. I thought the end leg of that move was not going to allow him to make it back to stage. Maybe a chance here, though, on this edge guard. Thermalax is surviving at 171 here. He would certainly like to take this next stock if he can, cut down on the points Villanova might earn, because it feels like Thermalax might be working on borrowed time. But in terms of taking a stock very quickly with safe options, Thermalax really likes to use that up tilt, whereas we've seen DDD likes to go for a few more of the larger swings, things like the dash attack on the ledge and things like these forward tilts, just kind of willing to chip away at stocks. Gordo will eventually take it outright. Thermalax running out of space on that ledge, nowhere to run to, nowhere to hide, and they will drop game number 2, and Villanova is now on the board.
That was a beautiful play here from Thermalax, or from DDD. Sorry, getting my DDDs a little bit mixed up. And look at that, just had been struggling for so long to get the stock, and you could see Thermalax at 203%. Yeah, DDD, look at that, sheesh. Alrighty, and then the inhale right here to put into that ledge scenario. And look at that. DDD just playing a little bit, or Thermalax, sorry. Oh my gosh. Playing a little bit more patient, going to the skies, trying to avoid a ledge scenario, still getting caught up by that up tilt. A very quick move that can get some stocks at decent percents, right?
Yeah, it can take them relatively early, especially if you're not aware of it. The dash attack, though, we've seen it I think we initially saw this from Thermalax. It didn't work out. But this time around, Thermalax was at the high percentage. And that dash attack, again, kind of covering, similar to how Thermalax was able to cover with the hammer. That dash attack comes through. Big ol' hitbox, very strong. And he runs out of invincibility along that ledge. So interesting to see, again, how these two players kind of utilize different portions of the kit at different times.
Yeah, just barely getting that right on the frame. Imagine just being one frame off on the get up. You hate to see it, but that's how the game plays, right? And then that Gordo setup right there. I love the armor through and DDD having the understanding. Okay, if you go to cancel the up B right at ledge, then the Gordo's going to hit. But where you armor through, that forces you onto the stage, and then boom, the answer is right there with that forward air. Amazing awareness right there to find the stock.
And we're running back the DDD Ditto for game number 3 here. See if DDD can hold his title of the king of the DDDs, or if Thermalax can steal away this set once again. They both went for the inhale on the Gordo, but Thermalax wanted out of it in that sequence. Now a chance here. DDD off stage. Thermalax trying to ledge trap. Gordo's being knocked away once more. And Thermalax has not had much opportunity to ledge trap DDD. You feel like Thermalax, when it comes to taking a stock outright, it's very much so things like that up tilt or run off forward air, going for more of the edge guard. Whereas DDD's kind of been in more advantageous scenarios more frequently. Even there, the up smash nearly able to take that stock.
I think DDD has been doing a really good job of utilizing his character experience and his character knowledge. Like when you hear somebody named DDD, you hope that they have more character knowledge with King DDD than their opponent. But it's actually been showing a little bit true in some scenarios. For example, utilizing up air to poke through stage and to go ahead and send the Gordo back. Or that situation with the up smash and understanding that, look, I've covered a weight on ledge so many times, as well as covered the jump, I've covered the neutral get up. At this point, the only option I haven't really covered is that roll. And so instead of going to cover the neutral get up like he has been doing for the past, several stocks, boom, up smash, ready to go. Not quite gonna get the stock, but coming mad close.
Very close indeed. Feels like this opening stock means so much to both players, considering how that first game opened up. If Thermalax were able to take this one, DDD would certainly be in a bit of a bind of sorts. That being said, still many quick options that could take the stock. Chipping away, forward tilts, lots of inhales being used as well on these Gordos. Just kind of threatening that projectile right back. Another neutral B. The follow-up, though, can't get the forward air. Maybe this time around, yes, he will. Thermalax goes for the side B, but it's too slow. The forward air of DDD takes stock number 1.
I like the utilization of inhale right now within this game, because it's not only covering the side, which is the initial thought process is like, okay, if they send Gordo, then you suck it in and spit it back, right? That's all to it. But then there's that extra layer of right there, DDD positioning himself out of range of Thermalax. That way, instead of inhale catching the Gordo, which would be a net neutral, there wouldn't be any gain, any loss. Instead, it catches Thermalax being aggressive and then secures a little bit of advantage state.
Whew. There's the both hits of the Gordo coming through in that moment. Percents again relatively even here. Ooh, can't knock back that Gordo though, so DDD will get back for free for the moment. That's the other thing too about Thermalax is, oh my, the bounce on the Gordo there, the inhale, helping that angle reach DDD, and Thermalax again able to grab an early lead like he did in game number 1. And again, going through that option coverage, cycling through a couple of these different options. in terms of where to be positionally. But an air comes through into the up air. Well done. 9 times out of 10 players go for a forward air there, but he recognizes in that moment the up air will kill, and it takes down this stock count to 1 apiece.
I think the other good thing about that up air is you are worried about how Thermalax DIs. And so right there, that up air, if you just position yourself right inside of them, which is what kind of happened, now you're going to guarantee that it doesn't matter which side they are on compared to you, that up air is still going to connect, because DDD is huge. If it's, you know, maybe it's not hitting his feet or his belly, but his little beanie on top is going to get caught up.
Tensious spot for DDD, as their percent very much behind here. Good catch on that Gordo to knock it back. The battle for stage control is still on here. Another neutral B in, but gets quickly nared back out. Just everything kind of trading right now, and if these trades continue back and forth, it is going to go in Thermalax's favor. But you'd love to get that set back if you can for the Wildcats. But now, how does Thermalax make it back to stage? He's under pressure here with these aerials from DDD not finding the mark. He can't inhale that Gordo while it's being hit back. And now 135 onto DDD. Ooh, another inhale again, fighting through. These Gordos getting dangerously close to killing at these percentages.
And that inhale, by the way, was the reason why that Gordo went through the F tilt. Normally, the F tilt will stun the Gordo and slow it down enough where it can get the final hit of F tilt and send it back. But because the Gordo was traveling a little bit faster due to the inhale, it was able to get all the way through. And all of a sudden, DDD doing a really good job to lay out the pressure back onto Thermalax. And Thermalax getting caught by the double Gordo and finished off by 1 more.
Dies at 160 plus to a Gordo, and a very, very close battle ends in a victory for DDD from Villanova. And I thought Thermalax was going for the ledge here. I thought that was the game plan, but he lands on stage and he can't survive. Even with the little bit of armor on that up B, the Gordo fights through.
That smug penguin. We love to see him. That's my favorite taunt, and it's not even a taunt. It's just a crouch. Oh my gosh. Look at this pressure. Comes down with the inhale to catch any aggressive come in. Boom. Forward air. Nah, you aren't Gordoing out of there. Nah. You don't get an escape option. You don't get a nair. And I'm curious, would that position have covered both the nair and the Gordo, or if it was just the Gordo covered?
I think so. I think in terms of spacing, right, DDD kind of would have spaced around that nair. Good back air. That is something that Thermalax has done very well throughout his time here at EGFC. Taking stocks very quickly off of either via the up tilt or these back airs. His spacing on those back airs, very strong. But yeah, you're calling it out, right? That hitbox, right? He is kind of smushed on the floor after landing, and that back air still hits him.
It came, just touched his toes as he missed the tech. It's kind of what happens, though, sometimes. That hammer is a huge hitbox, and it's a very good tool to cover space. That Gordo snipe right there, though, absolutely clean. Inhales his own Gordo to go ahead, take that stock. Beautifully done by Thermalax. All the same, though, DDD just, kept the coverage on. Finds the stock right here without taking too much damage before it, too. Only 14%. Gosh, that nair into that upper was really good. Because look, it's a DI in. Maybe you wouldn't catch with the forward air. Maybe you're a little bit worried they'll come down with the nair. You've missed the forward air a couple of times. So just position yourself a little bit lower and go for the up air instead.
And then eventually the Gordo, we saw take that final stock. Again, Thermalax landing on stage means that armor is going to run out and the Gordo will fight through, and DDD answers back for the Wildcats. So Villanova back on the board here. 5-7 our scoreline through just 2 sets, and DDD getting a win is a very good sign, because Thermalax is one of these players that I think is very there's a lot of emphasis and a lot of spotlight on this player, because there's not a lot of DDDs in the EGFC. These are really it, right? There's not a whole lot of that character being played in this scene. And Thermalax is a player that last year joined the team very late, but got more and more playtime, especially in the postseason when the games matter the most. He was constantly being in around slot number 4 or 5, which are typically those anchor type of roles. For DDD to beat that player early on in a set like this is a very good sign for the Wildcats. But we're going to get ready for set number 3. We've been told that the players are locked in. Going to be Nathaniel B going up against Vu.
The question does become, what stage are we going to? Looks like we got a ban of Town, FD, Battlefield, and looks like we're going to be going to Small Battlefield. I'm interested to see what we got going on here. Normally, the go-to is PS2, right? That's just kind of the natural. I think Small Battlefield, a little bit of a better stage overall, just because where PS2, if you look at characters amongst this game, the top tiers are the ones with really good recoveries and still have some really good zoning tools. So, you know, look at your Pikachus, your Jokers, your Palutenas. They have some really good rushdown capability, but what defines them as top tier characters is the ability to change the pacing from, all right, we're going fast, hard, and just deep in the paint, you know? We're going all at it, scrapping, to, oh, hey, never mind. You know what? I'm going to gun camp for a minute. I'm going to use my auto reticle, and I'm just going to chill back here. And then alongside that, they have these great edge guard games. And they also have amazing recoveries that are hard to edge guard. And so where a character like, say, DK, where sure, it's a bigger blast zone, so you should be living longer, it doesn't matter though, because you're getting edge guarded, and so you could get killed at 30 just because you got thrown off stage. Meanwhile, DK isn't going to be edge guarding Palutena. And so PS2, just bigger stage, a little easier to camp, bigger blast zones, a little bit better for characters that have good recoveries and good edge guarding. And so Small Battlefield, a little bit more neutral. I'm excited to see what we might get cooking here. Tell me a little bit about Vu and Nathaniel B. Who do they play normally?
I'm actually going to say that I'm curious to see what they'll opt for this week, because so for Vu, we've mostly seen the Link as his tried and true. We did see Sora, but I think if I remember correctly, that was just kind of a one-off 1 week, you know, didn't like a character matchup, opted for the Sora that week. I think we're likely to see the Link in this scenario. Nathaniel B has been the hero in the Cloud recently that have made appearances. So in terms of that ability, you know, when I think of Cloud, I think of, you know, the fact that he can die so early from being off stage, because if he doesn't have limit, his resources are limited. Then on the flip side, a hero, that meter management, it could also put him in a tricky predicament. But against a Link, you have to think about the projectiles, right? You have to think about how they're going to deal with all of those many projectiles. The bomb, I'm very off, I guess, with my character selections. Everyone's just saying, you know what? Give me the heavyweights. Give me the Bowser. Let's just scrap.
This is the third 3 for 3 right now for Villanova, and choosing Bowser for at least one game through the set. I will say, Bomb catching. Yeah, so Bomb is a very good tool. Link has a lot of good tools to just keep characters out between Boomerang to cover ranges, Arrow to be a little bit more pesky, but then Bomb utilization can be a key thing with this character to take it from a really strong character with Boomerang and Nair to alrighty, now you gotta respect some of the safer edge guarding, some of the safer ledge trapping. I will say Vu's grab game has been phenomenal. That's one of the things that takes a Link from being just good, decent, to phenomenal, because his grab is really good, and it makes the threats of Boomerang, of Nair, all the scarier, because now your shield doesn't get to work against Link, because he might just grab you.
Nathaniel B at a deficit early here, obviously off of that first stock, but they're forced to recover high into the up smash and the option coverage again. Once Bowser's in the corner, I feel like Link as a character just eats this heavyweight alive. There is nothing much that Nathaniel can do once this Bowser is off stage, and Vu just continues to force them to the corner.
Oh, 100%, and look at that, the B reverse on the up B to pull him off. We were getting a little bit aggressive with that one. I don't know what that was going to hit, but all the same, wanted it. Popping the bomb at the ledge. That it's a very good ledge trap for how easy it is to perform. Because as long as that bomb is bouncing, it has a hitbox. So if you Z drop it right at the ledge, so it covers everything but roll get up, then attack get up and roll get up are the only options. You get the invulnerability from attack get up, but it's still very reactable for Vu, and Vu could also just, bomb recovery, hits the tech on the Wi-Fi, and gets the up B off of it. That was pretty clean, I'm not gonna lie.
As I've seen the bomb recovery time and time again, all the links in this league can hit it. What I was not expecting was this up B to catch Nathaniel B and kill. And the fact that he not only gets the tech and up Bs instantly after, it's the fact that now the fact that he damaged himself by using the bomb recovery means that I think he gets pretty close to max rage here. He gets up to, he's at 131. That's still a lot of rage. And Nathaniel gets a little too aggressive, but look at that scoop box. I mean, the hitbox on this up B always baffles me, and yet it's a kill move. What a catch. And again, that tech was fantastic to see from Vu, but it's something I've seen from him in the past. It was the follow-up that really got me on that sequence. Wow, well done.
And look at this right here, the bomb setup. Even if they wouldn't have blown it up as early, it might have even caught the bounce anyways, and setting up into this nice little triangle formation. As you can see, Link, a proud supporter of the Illuminati overall. I'm going to send you down the triangle, and bye-bye.
This was stock number 2 off of Nathaniel. Just great option coverage, right? Recognizing, all right, I've forward thrown him off stage. He's got high percent. He's already used his jump. He has to up B here. I'll cover low with the bomb and then cover high with that up smash. Here's that forward throw, right? Off stage. And we don't typically see Link forward throw, right? We typically see, something like down throw, maybe up throw if you feel like juggling, but forward throw is, I feel like, few and far between.
Yeah, and the issue is with burning that double jump so early, you've now made it so the only thing you can do here, because if you go high, you're getting up smashed. And so you have to air dodge. But alas, that's a very hard thing to realize in the moment, and a very scary thing. I will say you can even see it in this Bowser shell here. If we look nice and closely, look at those eyes right here. He knows. He's scared now.
3, 2, 1.
All right, game number 2 between these two about to be underway here. Nathaniel B change up the character selection. The Wolf making an appearance here. And again, not a character that we've typically seen from him in the past, but very strong in their own right. Bavu going to work once more. So far unscathed through the first 20 seconds or so. Until that forward air. Nathaniel B forced to the corner here, trying to use the laser to fight through, enter back with a couple of these projectiles, but still, Vu is on the chase down right now.
Yeah, no, this is becoming a little bit of an issue. You can see Nathaniel trying to utilize the laser and the reflector to try to push back a little bit of this pressure being dealt through all these projectiles. This boomerang is being so oppressive within this match, and so you want something to kind of deal with it, but even then, there's only so much you can do if you don't get the time to react, and you're so focused and one-sided on the boomerang. At that point, it's going to become an issue. So we're starting to see, Nathaniel be pull a little bit back on that reflector and focus a little bit more on some neutral play. Big caught with that jump, though, sadly for him.
Yeah, Vu doing a fantastic job of kind of getting a read of Nathaniel B's options. Like you mentioned, calling out the jump there after seeing that, all right, he's kind of burned through everything and he doesn't want to throw out something like a side B or up B here. So he calls out the jump instead, and he's able to take that stock down with him. And now, Nathaniel B up to 60%. Forward tilt, shielded, but he's still, again, forced to the corner. And the forward air along the ledge means that he can't make it back to stage. And Vu, in a pivotal third set, gets a 3 stock in game 2 and closes out that series.
Not just game 2, mind you, game 1 as well. A clean 6-stock set, not a stock drop. Hate to see the SD, but yeah, you got to be a little bit careful when you're off stage if you're going to throw out a move. And that fair right there going to put you into too much end lag to be able to make it back. You hate to see it, but it happens. I assume just trying to either catch the bomb or put out a threat, but if you're stuck in that move, you aren't going to be able to grab the ledge. So bomb almost connecting there. Doesn't even matter though. That F tilt going to catch that get up. Look at that. Oh, it was the linger of it catching the lack of invulnerability. There's been so many of those tonight where we've seen just 1 or 2 frames away from survival, but that invulnerability gonna be gone.
Yeah, unfortunately. Here was the jump call out that you mentioned, right? Had been forced through the corner a couple times, recovered through side B, recovered through up B. And he didn't want to use one of those options again. This time he just gets called out for the jump once he gets back to the ledge. Gets hit off stage once more. He's already had to up B and whatnot, so he doesn't want to re-grab that ledge and be put in the exact same scenario. And it's a well-timed read from Vu to get that forward air and get that second stock off the board.
Yeah, Vu out here playing like Marth, just looking for the tipper of that sword, given no sweet spot on it, but hey, it don't matter. That is definitely going to secure the kill. Look at that. You are gone and out of here, sent right into the blast zone. And here's the thing, some of this pressure is absolutely disgusting. I mean, if we go ahead back up to the beginning of this, right? All right, the bomb. Now you have to get up, okay? You don't want to be caught on this ledge, otherwise you're going to have some issues. All right, you get up. What do you do next? You got a shield because you keep getting hit by this F tilt. All right, the F tilt, you passed that. Now you want to swing. Ooh, we're just going to drift on back with the jump, catch you with the same fair that took stock number 1. And now all of a sudden you are off stage. Oh, hey, here comes the bomb. You don't want this to hit you. You don't, X marks the spot. So what are you going to do? You want to swing to grab it. You want to swing at your opponent. Oh, and you're going back down into the drink, sadly. And that's why we call it a pineapple. I don't know why it's called a pineapple, but this is the pineapple. It's flat. I've never known a pineapple to be flat, but... Alrighty, and now we're going to get the Corrin versus the Pac-Man. Corrin got a little bit of a better matchup here, but Pac-Man does have some pretty good zoning tools overall. Looks like we're just getting a bit of a... But is this not a button check?
This is a button check
Okay.
Set number 4. The players, by the way, that you saw on screen, the Corrin is SSBU for the side of Hawaii. Another one of the members that we've seen more consistently as the year has gone on for the side of Hawaii, and has played fantastic, especially in scenarios like this. So far, 3 and 5 this season on the Corrin. On the flip side, we're seeing Tricky, who has one of the best records for Villanova, and stepping in here in this moment feels like the right thing to do, especially after a huge win from Vu. A win here for Villanova gets them back into this series and keeps them alive in terms of the hope of getting a victory this week. But again, against SSBU, it's going to be easier said than done. Pac-Man versus Corrin, not a matchup that we frequently see here at EGFC.
Yeah, I am excited to see how it plays out. Villanova was doing really good until that last set, and so there is still a chance to go ahead and bring it back. Corrin, a little bit of a scary character to be fighting as Pac-Man, I think. Corrin's got some pretty useful tools to go ahead and break Hydrant. And then alongside that, Pac-Man's pretty stumpy, and Corrin's got the tools to go ahead and put the pressure on. All the same, Tricky getting a little bit nice with that Galaga play. And I'm excited to see if they've got any combos cooking up with it.
I'm curious to see how SSBU deals with the Hydrant that Tricky will bring to the table. Although, so far, not prone to getting it out very frequently here. Wow, using a projectile right in the face of SSBU. And they're going to get aggressive, go off stage with that runoff down air, but SSBU able to fight back. That up B gets through. Another Hydrant used. Forward smash will be able to take it off the board. 88 to 71, and still a battle for neutral here. Wow, what a spot dodge around that side B, and nearly able to take the stock off the back of it.
I will say, one of the weaknesses of Pac-Man is when you need a setup, you need some time. And so Corrin, although a little bit slow, not slow enough to allow Pac-Man to always find that time. And we've kind of seen that at the beginning of this game, where Chezwa has just been putting the pressure and staying within Tricky's space to try to make it so that they don't have time to set up with the fruit, with the hydrant. And that's done a pretty good job of keeping it nice and even.
Chezwa able to get the key here. And I was gonna say, we've seen a lot of the orange usage and a lot of the cherry as well. A lot of quick projectiles, the Galaga that you mentioned, but not a lot of that full charge for the bell or the key that we frequently see from Pac-Man players. Instead here, Tricky gonna have to be able to recover low here once more. Gets the hydrant down. Side B, Apple could be a quick kill option as well, but not going to find the marker quite yet. And both players now playing tentatively, but Chezwa is the first to pull the trigger. They find the up air. Tricky spending too much time kind of stalling out up in the air.
Yeah, and I think Tricky should have held on to that key just a little bit longer. It just felt like, all right, I'm going to put the hydrant down and I'm going to throw the key automatically. And the thing is, you get to play with that fear factor if you're Pac-Man. You get to say at any moment, I can kill you. So don't mess up. And that puts the pressure on Chezwa all of a sudden. That's the reason why charge shots can be very strong in this game. A utilization of that to just put fear and put the pressure on the opponent allows you to control the pacing of the match a little bit easier.
Sabi's not going to land. Oh, forward smash through the hydrant there. He has to air dodge around his own hydrant as well. Apple gets beaten out by that neutral B from Chezwa. Tricky off stage once more. Back air. Won't be able to find the marker quite yet. Gets the grab. Back throw still not going to do the trick. And all of a sudden, this Corrin is surviving at 168. Gets around the bell. Down throw for the damage here. No kill throw from that portion of the stage. Doesn't want to risk another edge guard. And Tricky now going to have to work even harder to take this stock.
I will say, it's absolutely insane to see how good Pac-Man's grab is in this game. Because that thing is lingering longer than anything else I've seen in this game. Minus maybe Link's F-tilt from earlier. But up for debate. Hydrant in the play now. And that is the worrisome thing, right? Is Tricky needs to find ways to control the stage with that hydrant to give himself time to go ahead and prep. Get these Galagas, get these keys, get these bells. And there's been a lot of the times where Chezwa has just been shutting down a hydrant with either a pin, F-tilt, F-smash, and utilizing it as a wall against Tricky instead. Just to say, hey, look, I'm safe behind the hydrant, and I can still hit you. So what are you going to do here?
Follow-up here, going to make things dangerous. Oh, he risked it all for that up B, but did not find the marker. Ooh, and Tricky gonna get caught out. I think the fact that the push from the hydrant came through actually messed up the angle because it pushed Chezwa out of harm's way of Tricky's nair, and the forward smash was able to connect off the back of it. So Tricky, their tools again working against them, and Chezwa now with a pretty significant lead. Tricky's at 45% here. They're about to be lapped as well if that nair connected, but still. 64 on Chezwa, and they're off stage now. Tricky, maybe a chance here. They tried through the hydrant, but it didn't despawn from the center of the stage, and Chezwa continues to gain extra credit.
Yeah, this is looking very scary for Tricky, and the question becomes, even if you get this stock, how are you going to secure the next one? And that's the thing, if you can get the Galaga play, that's kind of the key thing. So you need to get the kill and then get Galaga on deck, but Tricky taking a little bit too long to try to set up for that bell to find the kill. And this is getting scarier and scarier by the moment. Chezwa playing Corrin has a lot better random kill options, whether that be an up air, back air. There's plenty of setups into up air with like forward air and nair, depending on the percentages and placements, all the same. The pin being one of the key ones right there. A really good movement option and tool within neutral to just maneuver around Pac-Man's hitboxes, and we've seen it time and time again where it creates these crazy mix-ups whether it be, all right, I'm going to drop from pin, or, hey, look, I got the pin. Now I get to react and just go ahead and send you right into the depths of the blast zone.
We've even seen the pin used defensively, right? If the pin doesn't land, Sheswa can just say, hey, it didn't land. Let me just disengage, go away, move away from the spacing that Pac-Man can bring to the table. And Tricky has not had the opportunity to punish really that move outside of, say, the first stock where they got the forward smash that did not actually end up taking a stock off the board. So Sheswa playing pretty solidly overall.
That is the versatility of pin, right? I will say, getting a little aggressive with that neutral B. I actually want to see the forward smash kill off of the Hydrant Nair, where Tricky, got a little bit caught up by that. So right here, of course, getting the pressure, which, side note, hold up, I want to back up to this. So if we watch this real quick, the only reason why this up B doesn't hit, because there is a hydrant coming down, okay? And that clanks and disengages this up B hitbox. And so Pac-Man gets to just, get the time to air dodge through, because anytime you hit something, you have what's called hit lag. And so you get to stall for a little bit longer. Now we go ahead and we get this this push right here. All right, the pressure, getting a little bit scared. They both go ahead and roll, okay? Now we get that forward smash that we talked about. And that's going to go ahead. Let's see where this F smash lands.
That is between his feet. I mean, so Sheswa got pushed by the hydrant, but because Tricky jumped, it didn't really push him instead in that moment, right? On the roll behind, once Sheswa rolls behind him, he gets pushed away because Tricky starts his jump, and therefore does not really get pushed, I believe, by that hydrant. And 100%. Now the Nair, now the Nair is too far away to land on Sheswa.
About half the distance. And that's what hydrant does, is all of a sudden you're gonna have a lot more issues. Now we're gonna see the Kazuya though. Man, you gave FB to Kazuya. You better be worried. I'm interested to see what Tricky has got up their sleeve. We got the Golden Cause. Bro coming up in here like tea.
Interesting. So, Tricky has only gone Kazuya maybe once or twice this season. It is few and far between that we've seen the Kazuya make an appearance. Wonder why, I guess. Game number one, obviously, it didn't go as planned for him, but it still felt manageable. But I guess wanted to mix things up here. We get to see the Kazuya come through. But Sheswa still with solid control, but Tricky. Oh no, not enough height on the air dodge to the ledge. And Sheswa gifted an early one here.
I will say, so I have a little bit of experience with Kazuya and messing around with him. So I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to go back and watch that stock. But it looked like what happened is Tricky double jumped and maybe even double jump canceled with the up B. Now, here's the thing. Double jump has, no real end lag. Meanwhile, up B does. And so if you're needing to recover as high as possible, it's better to do the up B and then the double jump, because you could air dodge right after the double jump to get a little bit more height. Meanwhile, the up B, you won't get any extra height because the air dodge doesn't come out soon enough. I understand the Kazuya. You're on FD. This is an amazing stage for Kazuya. If you could get the combos, it should be a kill after every hit. But even if you can get those combos, which Tricky is kind of having a hard time performing some of the Electric Wind God Fist stuff at times, you still have to deal with Korin. And Korin has a really good toolkit to keep Kazuya out. Those swords are humongous.
Yeah, a lot of space that Sheswa can cover. And on top of that, you've got a projectile. That's just going to be... Oh, no, it's not a kill outright. Thought it'd be enough, but instead, Tricky gets to survive here. And with Rage Drive also online, maybe a chance at an early stock here if they can find that opening, but they get hit and they're going to get followed up on by the up air. It's still not enough to take the stock though. Another low recovery. And Sheswa, oh no, again, like you mentioned, can't air dodge after that up B. It's not going to be tall enough. And Tricky, once again, dropping his stock. It felt a little bit like that stock was on borrowed time, but now you look at this percent starting to rack up, and Tricky is getting caught out. He has to upbeat early here. Does he have enough to make it back to the stage? No, he can't get back. The air dodge doesn't even come through. And Cheswa, a JV3 or JV2. Wait, no.
No, that was a JV3.
It was a JV3. My apologies.
Yeah, I got a question. Air dodge? Can we talk about it?
There is just a chance that the input gets eaten, but I don't know. Did he use it early?
No, there's no air dodge here. We get the up B, so air dodge is still in play because he got hit.
There's a double jump.
This is jump. So yeah, 100%. You just air dodge. I don't know what happened there. Maybe tried to go for side B, forgot that you don't get side B after you use up B. I don't know.
Could be. That also could be the trick, because the side B also, that would have been the perfect time, right? Hadn't really used the side B to try and recover all game long, outside of, say, to recover low. But that would have been the opportunity to use it. But yeah, if you don't get the side B after that up B, and Tricky unaware of that fact, then that could also explain why we didn't see an air dodge come through. And I've also seen, at that angle, right, the air dodge towards the stage or towards the ledge, but the end lag of the air dodge means that they can't grab it instead. So maybe Tricky just kind of thinking, well, I better pray this jump has the distance. Either way, Cheswa able to close out this series and secure a win for Hawaii, but we still have a fifth and final match to play out between these two schools, because it is still the regular season, and we are keeping track of those point differentials and round differentials for the postseason. But Cheswa able to close things out here in this fourth series. A strong showing from them.
Yeah, no, Tricky just having a bit of issue on that game right there. I will say second stock definitely didn't have to lose that. Just utilization of up B and then the double jump to allow for the air dodge to reach. Just a little bit of a lack of character knowledge, and that happens from time to time, right? That's a pretty niche scenario to know overall, even though it could be very important, like we just saw. There's not a lot of times where Kazuya really struggles in recovery. He's the Shoto with the best recovery, and a Shoto with a good recovery is a scary Shoto.
And we ended up seeing a little bit of that as he was able to take down one stock off of Cheswa. But again, it felt like because of the SDs and because they weren't able to make it back to ledge and utilize the recovery as much, they just didn't have the time to kind of figure it out and make the neutral game work against Korin, right? Because like you mentioned, that matchup initially is going to be a little bit hard because it is a boxer versus someone wielding a sword. You're going to get outspaced to a degree, but once you get in, that damage can come online, and we all know what Kazuya can do.
Oh, 100%. I will say that is the other issue. If you watch back that first stock, there were a lot of misinputs that were meant to be electric. For example, there were a couple of times where you saw the dragon uppercut, which is just, plain, just boom, no electric, no static, no charge. And then there were a couple of times, so the whole input, okay? Let's say I'm going to the right, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go right, down, right. I think I did that wrong. Right, down, right. I did it the other way because I'm backwards. But yeah. So there's a couple of issues where if you kind of yank the control stick to try to go down the other way, you'll sometimes accidentally get a bit of a pivot F smash depending on how you do it. And so there was a pivot F smash in there that I saw that I know when I was practicing electric, I did plenty of times. There were a couple of dragon uppercuts that we saw. And then there were just moments where it seemed like Tricky just was really trying to force interactions. For example, when we saw Rage Drive, I think during the second stock, we saw 3 down Bs or Rage Drive inputs where it was just, I want this hit, but you got to be patient for it. And Kazuya, even though Kazuya, once you know how to use the stuff, can be very brutal, you still have to find the hit. And that's a very hard thing to do if you're trying to force it at all times. And your opponent is playing patient around that.
Yeah, decision making, right? You got to know when to go in and when to pull back. And unfortunately, Tricky unable to figure it out in time against Shez Swap. Final series of the night here. Pi going in against Darth Wampa. Darth Wampa, another Link member for the side of Hawaii. Very different from Vu in terms of how these Links like to play. Feel like Vu a bit more of a scrapper, wants to use that sword like a swordie, use the space, go in but play around that distance. Whereas Darth Wampa, I think, more so projectile based, uses a lot more of the arrows, the bombs, the boomerangs, and they're making use of them here against Pi's Game & Watch, which we've seen a little bit this season. Pi still looking for his first win between the Game & Watch and the Yoshi. Maybe he can do so here, but not going to be an easy task against Darth Wampa.
I will say, I like how quickly Darth has went ahead and adjusted around Pi's use of bucket, because that's a very scary tool to utilize inside of neutral, where, all right, you're throwing bomb, you're throwing boomerang, you're throwing arrows. No, you don't get to do that anymore. I'm going to pop bucket. You're going to have to handle this. But we've seen only one absorption from Pi, and Darth Wampa immediately understood, hey, I can't let him absorb anymore. I will die at 20 if I let this keep happening. And then, even once again, upon that, layering it with the fact that, okay, if you're going to keep bucketing, I'm going to throw bomb in positions to force you to bucket, and then I'm just going to go ahead and punish you for doing that. And it's worked out absolutely phenomenally for Darth Wampa thus far.
Very strong start. They're sitting at 114 though, so maybe Pi, if they can find something strong here, could be able to take this stock, but I worry about the kill power of Link. There are a lot of strong hitboxes in this toolkit, and Game & Watch, one of the lightest characters in the game, and with all this rage now being built up onto Darth Wampa, if Pi is not careful, they could drop this second stock very early. They get boomeranged for it, not able to follow up quite yet. Nair will knock them off stage. Holding the bucket once more. Bomb on the ledge. Oh, you saw the idea from Darth Wampa. The coverage was there, but the forward tilt is just faster.
Yeah, just a little too quick to be able to catch that tilt there. That is the thing, when you are playing against a character like Game & Watch, who every hitbox comes out frame one. I swear on my life, this character goes insane. But right there, a really good use of bucket that time, making it so that if Darth Wampa went for the explosion, that's going to be the third absorption. And right there it is. Now all of a sudden, Darth Wampa has to be worried about dying at such an early percent, especially with a move as strong as that explosion from Bomb. I don't know what the kill percent is, but it's got to be like 30, maybe 40.
Unfortunately for Pi, they dropped that stock, and that up B out of shield, one of Link's fastest options out of shield, and it kills. So very well used. But the bucket is just going to answer right back, and there it is. The utility being burned, but one that evens up the game, and now a chance here. Darth Wampa, though, has all this pressure in the corner right now. Down smashing at the ledge. Another bomb being placed. And Pi just in such a difficult position. Oh, well spaced down air between the hits of that up smash. And now Darth Wampa off stage. They'll be able to roll back once more. But so much tension as they play around this corner.
Yeah, this is looking threatening. The Nair, though, going ahead and secure the landing. Those little fishes come out just like swords sometimes. The pressure right now, Pi is just trying to keep Darth Wampa out of his bubble, but not working for much longer as Darth Wampa finding their way in.
Big stock here. Forward throw off stage. Arrow lands. Pi trying to fight their way back. They find the double jump from the ledge. Up B, up air. And now, Game & Watch with Rage, if they get something like a down smash, which would be easier said than done, you could kill relatively early in the right spot at the right time. This is not out of the woods yet for Darth Wampa. He's going to get the arrow reflected back at them. And another safe back air used. Good parry as well. Pi playing safe here. Another up B on the shield. Oh, but the lingering hitbox up air is going to do it. And Darth Wampa holds on to take game number one.
Yeah, no, you got to be careful. Just because you pop the up B doesn't mean you can't get hit. You pop the up B, it's frame 3. Okay, you're out of there. But why are you drifting towards Link? Why are you doing that? This is the danger zone.
Oof. Tough spot. Pi did such a good job of making that close after what seemed like a rough start. Good forward tilt here to be able to answer back. And again, down smash, you can see that sword's about to turn around and hit him. If it connects, it's likely to stock off the back of it. But Pi just, like you mentioned, faster options.
It's such a quick move. I don't know what Game & Watch's frame data is, but it is not okay. That is what it is. But yeah, no, as you said, like that down smash is normally a pretty common option to go ahead and cover both neutral get up or attack get up and roll get up. But when you have a move, which by the way, frame 8 on startup for Game & Watch, so I don't even know if it's necessarily Game & Watch just being that fast or if it's just Link being that slow, if we're being honest here.
He spot dodged the first hit at a shield here. This was a jab coming through from Game & Watch, from Pi. After the shield of the Nair, he drops shield and goes for jab and gets spot dodged. And up B is just faster. That move is so quick. Wow, what a play.
That is the one thing to keep in mind if you go for a jab check, especially online where you can't always react to if they did spot dodge. Some of the time it's just going to be better to commit to the jab at that point and just keep going for it. I will say this bucket right here, absolutely phenomenal, right? So the jab hits the shield. And at this point, no matter what you do, this bucket will hit you. Because if you keep shielding, it'll either shield poke or shield break. If you try to spot dodge, I believe it's lingering enough to where it'll hit. Plus, Pi just straight up delayed it a little bit to cover that a little bit. And so there's just so many issues that you're trying to juggle when it comes to that jab into bucket. So it's always better just not to let him get the bucket.
Yeah, and it's easier said than done with the way that Darth Wampa likes to use projectiles. But Darth Wampa, one game away from securing another series for the side of the Rainbow Warriors. They've already got the W for the week, but they'd love to up their advantage and try and get more points towards those tiebreakers if they could. Pi trying to cut down on the losses of Villanova this week if they can. Even up the start once more here. Another up B, chipping away at the stock. This Nair did a lot of work in game number 1 for Pi, seeing it more here in game number 2.
Yeah, no, I love the coverage from the Nair down below, where at that point, even a down air is going to get caught by that Nair. And now we're starting to see Pi just kind of abusing some of Game & Watch's strengths inside of that frame data. We're seeing a lot more shield play, where if you ever touch my shield, I'm going to up B, and then I'm going to combo you off of it. If you ever get too close, I'm just mashing down smash for a minute. And that is the thing about Game & Watch, is if you play Degenerate, it kind of works. That character is kind of built to be a degenerate.
The defense, right? Oh, even here, down smash, not burying, nearly killing though. Neutral B will help chip away at that stock. Ooh, tried to time it, trying to call out a neutral get up, but Darth Wampa not falling for it quite yet. Next strong hit in theory should do the trick for the stock either way. But easier said than done to find it. Oh, uses the get up attack to knock the bomb away, but it leads into the forward tilt of Darth Wampa. So the first stock goes in favor of the University of Hawaii, and they're already working on stock number 2.
We did see Boo try to utilize that in the Bowser game. But the one difference was Bowser's get-up attack is so big that it was able to catch Boo on their spacing. This time around, though, Darth Wampa, playing against Game & Watch, that get-up attack isn't that long, so you could go ahead and utilize that bomb to cover it, and then, all right, what are you going to do? If you roll get-up, I'm going to catch you. If you attack get-up, I'm going to catch you. So your options are extremely limited. I will say, beautiful recognition from Pi just now on the F smash. A little bit of niche knowledge when Link is at 0%, all of his smash attacks, or at least his forward smash. Correction, let me back up. His forward smash will send a laser beam. Just, referencing the first Zelda game.
It's something that rarely ever gets used, right? Because, you're rarely sitting at 0 in this game. But Pi aware of it, gets the bucket out, and, well, closer to being able to use that full move. But for now, things still in the red for both players. Eventually, Darth Wampa just able to get back and get the bomb. Detonates it once, twice now. Air dodge will help Pi get back to stage. Trying to find a forward tilt or a grab here. Does not find it. Another grab used. Forward throw off stage. And Pi will find the back air off the back of it. And down goes Darth Wampa to their last stock. And this is the first lead that Pi has had in a minute.
Ooh, beautiful tech. I will say, Pi just keeping it even is really good for this game. Because last game we saw it not be even and just get evened up due to the bucket. And so if Pi can keep it even until he can find that like win condition, like that down throw side beat, if you could find it, then all of a sudden you take an even game to winning, because that's been the big thing. It's kind of like Wario with Walk. It's not even if you're on the same stock at all times, because I have the kill power at 0.
Gotta get to that point, though, that portion of the game. Percent's still relatively even, but Pi, it is in their favor. That being said, Darth Wampa with Rage could kill a light Game & Watch very early. I don't know if this up B's gonna reach, and Darth Wampa will fall here in game number 2. Pi is gonna scratch and claw their way back in this series, and we're going to game 3.
Yeah, no, beautiful, beautiful play by Pi there with the Game & Watch. So catches the up air and then goes for the that down smash right there. That roll was the only reason why it's sent out. Then Darth Wampa, the issue you have here is that you can't just stall at that point once you've burned your double jump. Link doesn't have really good air acceleration, so once you slow down, you've committed to slowing down. And the only way for you to get your airspeed back up and going is to use that double jump. And if you've already burned it, you have to commit. And that's the big reason, one of the big reasons why you have to be very careful about utilizing your double jumps. And if you ever want to strengthen your play, there's a couple of things you can do in that. One, oh my gosh. Last
couple hits. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That air dodge goes too far. Anyways, as I was saying, if you want to know what you're doing wrong in disadvantage, chances are you are using an air dodge too early because you're scared and you just want to air dodge out of there. Or you are double jumping too early. Just save your double jump. It will do you so much favors. Or in this case, swinging. It's just basically players pick options when they're scared. And that's what happens when you're in disadvantage. You're scared that you're going to lose the stock. You need to not do that.
And sometimes it's hard to sometimes those panic options, right, are hardwired in. It's very difficult to break that wiring, but it's what a lot of these players have kind of learned to work around with. Darth Wampa in particular is one of the storylines that I like to bring up, because coming into the league, their record was just barely above 500, but you looked at their level of opponents that they were going up against. They were going up against the anchors of a lot of other teams, right? They're going up against players like Bobby Time out of DePaul. They're playing up against Spencer from Marquette, MIA, who was MVP of Season 2. They were going up against the cream of the crop. And so you look at that record and say, well, 8-6 is not all that strong. Well, it's because they were going up against some of the best that EGFC has to offer. And I feel like some of that has rubbed off on them. But here, they've certainly got their work cut out for them against Pi and this Mr. Game & Watch. Kalos a pick for game number 3 here. And we don't see a ton of Kalos here between these schools. So I'm curious what the decision-making process was that landed us at Kalos.
I think one of the ideas is you take out a lot of that platform play that allows Pi to get in and around these projectiles, all right? I think option number 2, edge guarding mayhaps. Edge guarding isn't as much of a thing in online play, but when it's come down to Pi's done a pretty good job of putting the pressure off stage. And so I think that does kind of weaken the stage pick a bit, because Game & Watch is fairly hard to edge guard. Meanwhile, Link's going to be dying at those early percents either way. So you've just allowed Game & Watch to live a little bit longer. I think overall, though, I think it's still a beneficial play. The bans were Lilat, Yoshi's FD. I think a better option might have even been Town and City, to be honest, because you still utilize the FD pick, you get a longer main stage, and then also you take the side platform, the side blast zones in closer to allow Link to utilize that F tilt to get kills a lot sooner. All the same, I don't think this is a bad pick. The main goal is like, all right, in neutral, you are going to struggle against all of my projectiles a little bit more than on PS2, where you had some platforms to work around.
And yet, still with the stage pick, it is still a very even game, right? 74 to 53 here, 2 stocks apiece. Nair comes through, evening out that percent count once more. Pressuring shield, still not enough to find a target quite yet. Dash attack is able to break through, but only for a moment. A lot of lingering back airs here, but Darth Wampa able to shield it. Another recovery. And now as we start to trend towards the red here, curious to see who finds that first opening, who goes for that heavily committal option. We haven't seen Darth Wampa go for something like that up B at a shield recently. And if Pi is kind of forced to box up close, could be a kill option. Oh, doesn't need the tech there. I don't think he got the tech anyway. He still is able to make it back.
100. Probably still would have needed the tech, just because if you miss the tech, it might send you out a little bit too far with that high percent. But even then, right, it's just better to have it just in case. I think overall that was a really good recovery route, and I'm really impressed by both Darth Wampa and Vu's ability to consistently hit that bomb recovery route. That's nothing easy offline, and online I'm sure it's even more miserable to hit. I will say Pi is starting to play a little bit safer around these shields, utilizing a lot more cross-ups and a little bit better spacing against Darth Wampa, which kind of was the issue a little bit earlier on in this game. Though, you know, losing that stock a little bit earlier, Darth Wampa's starting to run away a little bit with it.
Another forward air. Yeah, Darth Wampa certainly building up that lead. 146 here, so they do die to another strong hit. One portion of the bucket online, but still, Pi at 76, and they know they've got to find a way to make a play here. Ooh, they got the good parry, but they can't get the follow-up. Jabs come through, shouldn't kill quite yet. Threatening the back air. Oh, but the bomb interrupted. Maybe a chance here on the follow-up. Darth Wampa tried to get the down air, but it did not land. Pi now rolling in, throwing out those forward tilts, those quick kill options, but Darth Wampa, their defense standing tall here. Maybe a chance, tried to cover that platform, tried to cover the jump. Back air, not going to be able to take the stock quite yet. Another bomb recovery high above the stage. Just runs up and grabs him. And now Pi off stage once more.
And here is the issue that we're starting to see for Pi, is at these higher percents, Darth Wampa can't get edge guarded really. They're just going to use that bomb recovery route and get right out of there. And, you know, once again, Pi, as mentioned earlier at the beginning of this game, was getting a little too aggressive on that shield. Going for that back air and gonna lose the stock for it.
Drops the stock and drops the game, drops the series. Darth Wampa comes out on top in game number 3. Another 2 stocks on the board, plus 2 more points for the set victory. And all of a sudden, this is a big victory for the side of Hawaii. They've had a couple of wins like this season. This has been a fantastic year for them. Pi gave it their best effort, but at the end of the day, Darth Wampa, I think in the kind of scramble moments where they're both pressuring shield, Darth Wampa just tended to win out more than not, and maybe a part of it is the fact that Link is just heavier and maybe can kill a little bit easier, but Pi also, like we mentioned, in the key moments, getting a little too aggressive on that shield.
Yeah, no, I think a big thing is Pi would get aggressive, but with some of the wrong tools. Because even if you land some of these back airs, they aren't going to get the kill, right? Ooh, jumping right into that fair there. Meanwhile, Link has a lot of stray hits that they could go for to get that kill. And so if you're Pi, you should if you're going to make a risk like that, that might not even kill. Link's pretty heavy. And so if you're going to make a risk like that, you want to make it worth your while.
Yeah, and They were able to make it worth their, well, they weren't able to make it worth their while, unfortunately. Couldn't take that stock, but Darth Wampa made it worth their while. They secure another win for themselves. Darth Wampa now 7-4 on the season, and this Hawaii squad is looking strong once again. We are going to cut to a short break to get an interview set up with the coach, Dark Musician, from the side of Hawaii after this. So don't go anywhere. We'll cap off the night right after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, kings and queens, and all you lovely people in between, you know who it be. We've got none other than the coach of University of Hawaii, Dark Musician, in the building. How are you doing tonight?
Feeling pretty good. We weren't able to play last week, and we've been looking to break our to kind of get back on the winning track of things because we had a couple rough matches with DePaul and Arlington. So this was a really good win for us today. So I'm feeling pretty good.
Well, I do want to know, based on the name Dark Musician, you got a little bit of a background in Yu-Gi-Oh! Or a love for it? And if so, what's your favorite card?
Actually, my favorite card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the Fire Princess because I really liked playing like a stall deck where I just like gained a bunch of life points and burned people to death. But my friend said, no, don't use that name. Everyone will think that you're a girl. So it would be too confusing. So my second favorite card was the Dark Magician. And I also happened to be a music major at the time, where I was planning to major in music. So that's how the name kind of came about.
Fair enough. Interesting. So I'm curious about so this season, we've talked about it, how there's been, Hawaii's roster, there's so much depth to it, but this year you've hit the 11 win marker, which if I'm recalling correctly, this is probably the winningest season for you guys since joining the EGFC. What does this season mean to this group of players?
I think this season kind of just it just shows that like a lot of the people that we brought on like 1 season ago, they're starting to really like develop and starting to really improve and grow. And we've also I think it's also a testament to our recruiting process, because this year we recruited a lot of like really good players. We recruited Malona, we recruited Shea Swa, and they've been so helpful for our team, just closing out matches for us when we need them to, getting us off to good starts. Malona's been our lead for pretty much the entire year. So it's really meant a lot to this team, where like we feel like a really complete roster now. People have their roles now, everyone knows them, and like when we're all on the same page, like it's really hard to stop us.
So I've heard that you are a bit of a brawl vet, and so with some experience in past games and everything, how have you been able to take that and transfer that into your coaching for SSBU?
A lot of definitely like matchups. There's a lot of matchups in Brawl that are very applicable in this game, like Snake, and even in like from Smash 4 matchups like Bayonetta, Corrin, stuff like that. So past matchups definitely come into play, but also just I just kind of like have always been a very fundamentals based player. So the fundamentals that I bring from each game and that I build on, I can pass on to the team members in this game. And just stuff like being able to adapt, being able to notice habits, being able to stay calm under pressure, because that kind of thing is always going to be prevalent in any versus game. So those are the kind of things that I try to impart onto the players.
It's worked out this season. Your last game next week for the regular season is going to be up against University of Idaho. That's another Western Conference matchup. Any kind of insight on to the prep work you're going to do for that matchup?
So because of the fact that we are actually not going to be able to participate in the conference playoffs this year, because it falls on the same weekend as our big Hawaii regional, KawaiiCon, we're actually going to be not in a position to really like fight for a good seed this year. So our job next week is to do as well as we possibly can and just control what we can control. So hopefully we could just get a good win with a big score differential, and then hopefully that'll be enough to secure a playoff spot with a decent seeding. That's probably our biggest plan for next week.
So the final question I have for you personally is, with KawaiiCon, they've brought out a couple of sick players. For example, I remember Charles, and I believe Boyd went out last year as well.
Yes.
Or to the most recent one. And then this year they have, Tweak, Gluttony, and Mars.
Yeah.
What player do you hope they bring out next time?
Um, I always like seeing Larry Lur. He's one of my best friends in the scene. I met him back in 2010 for Brawl, and we've kept in touch pretty much every year. So it's always great to see him. Personally, if I had to pick somebody, I would love to get a player from either Mexico or Japan. We were lucky enough to get Abadongo in 2017, but I would love to meet and play like any of the current top players from Japan, like Proto Bantam, Ken, Shuton, and then from Mexico, obviously Spargo, Leo, Meister, SkyJ. Shout out to SkyJ and his recent run at Collision. So yeah, any of those players would be awesome for sure.
All right. Well, I think that is just about it for us. So, last kind of question of the night, Dark Musician. Is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out while you're here in the booth with us?
Thank you to you guys for all the work you do. Thanks for being patient. I apologize for the technical difficulties. We didn't have a laptop this week, but I'll make sure to be faster next time. But yeah, thank you guys for all the work you do, sitting in front of a webcam, commentating these matches. It's very hard work, and it's very much appreciated by everybody because we get to watch a great production, and the players get to watch their matches back, and we can enjoy them together. So thank you to you guys.
Thank you so much, and again, congratulations on the victory this week and a fantastic season. And we'll probably see you, I believe, next week for that final round against Idaho. So we'll let you get set up for that. But thank you so much for joining us here in the booth.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. Hope to see you next week.
Thank you once again. All right, and that just about does it for us here, Yin. That's our last match of the night. And Hawaii, again, that score line, the final score, 26-6, a 20-point victory. And the fact that Hawaii, again, not able to partake in the postseason because of their regional means that Western Conference is wide open, because Hawaii, they are at the top of that conference right now. Them, Colorado, Idaho, it really is anyone's game now with Hawaii kind of unable to partake in that postseason, which makes the postseason even more impactful.
Oh, 100%. And I gotta say, things are looking a little bit tough. Given Colorado doing pretty fire, I think they're sitting in top 5 right now, give or take. But then from there on out, the Western Conference looking very close. Not only, of course, as you mentioned, Idaho, but Weber's right behind them. Got to shout out my boys, my home area. But man, it is getting tough, and we've got one more week before it hits. So everybody's better be at the top of their game.
I'm excited to see the end of it, and I'm sure the viewers are too, because the end of the regular season means the postseason is right around the corner, and there is just nothing like college playoffs in any sport, and especially here in esports. But thank you all so much for watching. That's going to be it for us here on Official EGF. Thank you to House of 3000 for putting on production today. They do a fantastic job week in and week out, so be sure to give them a follow. Thank you, Yin, for joining us this week. I mean, I know you had to step in and you had the long day schedule, but we have a blast doing this week in and week out. And thank 100%. You to EGF to allow us on the mic to be able to commentate here at this level. We love doing this. It's fantastic work. Yin, any kind of final thoughts to help cap off the night?
I mean, hey, make sure to go follow my boy Soy at Soy is on J Sport. I thought it was an E Sport, but you do your thing, I guess. But no, as for me, you know where to follow me at yin_light, LITE. And I know Soy, you're getting ready for doing a little bit more commentary for postseason, I'm sure, as well as I believe you got a block next week as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I got at least 1 or 2 blocks for SSBU, but there's also other games to be watched on the Official EGF, right? There's Overwatch coming up, Rocket League is tomorrow, and I believe it's FIFA on Mondays. So if you want to tune in for those games for your school, be sure to check those time and dates on Official EGF, the website, egf.gg.
And hey, as for me, see me at a Daddy's Den X Supreme out in Washington this weekend, and major upset in Portland, Oregon in a couple of weeks. But
that's where I'm from.
Hey, Soy, come out to major upset? What?
Well, depending on the timing, we'll see. But once again, thank you all so much for watching. This time we're actually signing off for real. We'll let you go. Enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you all once again, and we'll see you next week for more collegiate action.